It's Cooking Flashbacks. It's me, Scrabble, the adorable cartoon robot dog, CEO and Minnesota here to present the upcoming episode of the Omnis Oddcast. This month we'll have two indie film comic creators, Roselinath and Lee Newman. Roselinath is the creator of Division 5, the hit vibrantly colored sci-fi slow burn romance webcomic set in the far future about a huntress with ice powers immune to the cosmos plague and a shadowy scientist known as the Arch-Extant with an imminent Kickstarter campaign inbound. Lee Newman is a comic writer, creator of Bentley books and the indie comic Sissone, a story about a deceptively athletic ballet dancing superhero whose name no one can seem to quite get right. Szechuan sauce. And so, without further ado, I am proud to present the third episode of the Omnis Podcast. Enjoy, consumers.
There we go. All right, we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the third episode of the Omnis Oddcast. Today we have guests Roselinath and Lee Newman, two very talented comic creators. Roselinath, creator of Division 5, hit indie comic, fully colored, on Webtoon, Tapas, Global Comics, and Lee Newman of Bentley Books, creator of Sissone. Am I saying that right?
You are. It's okay though, because everyone gets it wrong. So that's like the gag in the book. So
yeah, I like that his name is needlessly, or just everyone gets confused by it.
Unnecessarily difficult. Yeah, it's great.
But yeah, we're here to talk about comics, creative process, and the worlds you guys have been building. So welcome.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, it was awesome. Thank you. It's very cool to come on and talk shop.
Yeah, where should we start? Maybe you guys want to both give yourselves some introductions. Maybe talk about what you do and where to find you.
Roselinath, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Roselinath. I am a comic creator and illustrator writer, and I am the creator of Division 5. Too long to read version of Division 5. It is a sci-fi that is an action horror with a central romance. And it is about a scientist who becomes obsessed with a woman that is immune to cosmos plague. And if that interests you, you can definitely go check it out.
Absolutely. Links will be in the description.
And it's super fun. I actually read some this morning. I since I knew we were all going to be on here together, I was brushing up on everybody's stuff, and it's great. The pacing is very good, and it's also got kind of like it's action horror, but also almost like a sci fantasy with like the mutations. It's very cool. Very cool.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And Lee, do you want to introduce yourself?
Oh yeah, I'm going to talk about me. So my name's Lee Newman. I am a writer for Bentley Books. It's my imprint and publishing house. And I also do editing work on the side as well, and some project management for folks on Kickstarter, things like that. I've got a couple different books that I've done. I've done Sissone, as you mentioned, which is like a superhero comedy. It's sort of like Kick-Ass if Seth Rogen was in the lead. And then I tried my hand at a webcomic, and I'm not an artist, so it's very poorly illustrated. But it actually has little lessons I learned making comics underneath each one of the strips. So at least if it's a poor, crappy drawing with a silly 4-panel joke, here's a little bit of comics mistakes I made. Hopefully you don't make them in each one. Things like continuity, things like making sure that your lettering is spaced appropriately, all mistakes that I made in the comic that I point out. So if it's bad, at least I use it as a teachable moment. And then I've got little horror shorts I call Tales from the Auditorium that are all styled like EC comics, like creepy, eerie, that kind of stuff. And then most recently with my friend and artist Shiro, we're doing a book called Barbarian Queen Charybdis, which is kind of a return to form for Saturday morning cartoons, high action, kind of barbarian fantasy stuff, like the old Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, but kind of tweaked up a little bit so that it's for more of an adult audience. So it has like a little bit of violence and stuff like that in it, but still kind of keeping it in the PG-13 area.
Fantastic. Yeah, a lot of great stuff. Um, yeah, I love Tales of the Auditorium and Sissone. I finally got
Thank
around to
you.
reading Sissone in preparation, for the
Mhm.
Oddcast. Um, and it's really really good, and I want more.
Thank you. I want to make more. It's great. It's really fun, and it's part of a shared universe too. So if you actually check, I keep kind of a curated list of stuff on Global Comics, which is kind of like my landing page. And I
Mhm.
believe you guys are both assigned to a little curated list as well. I think uh, Division 5. I think I've got like the best of like manga kind of stuff, and then yours is in the best of the Awesome Man is in the best of comedy.
Is
But
it?
yeah, I did. Yeah, because anytime all you guys, all my Global Comics family, I try to put in those curated lists wherever I think like you guys go. So if somebody finds me, they can also find you guys. So
Yeah, just
um,
organize it a bit.
yeah, but
Not to
yeah,
mention, I
all that
actually
stuff's
did
on there.
read the auditorium, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, we really wanted to. I mean, we want to do more, but I've got. I'm sorry, I completely lost my train of thought. In my curated list, there's a shared universe, Heroes of Grand City, and it's all the different heroes that actually uh, do crime fighting in that shared city with Sissone. So we've got a couple other characters that other people do like illustrate and write. Like Dr. Fizz is another one. There's a character called the Rental who doesn't have a costume. He just goes to the costume rental place, and that's the costume he wears for that bit. I didn't write that one, but it's hilarious. So yeah, I love shared universe stuff. But yeah,
Yeah, that's cool. And so that you work with other writers and comic creators in the same
yeah,
universe.
yeah, it's pretty fun because I mean we all love that kind of like the Tick,
Yeah.
just like silly cape stuff. So we figured why not put it all in one place.
Yeah.
And then we can, it's like a big toy box, and then we can all pick the toys out of the toy box that we want. And we just kind of made an agreement that it's okay to, use each other's characters or name drop or whatever to kind of keep that universe cohesive.
That's awesome.
I really like that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Thank you.
I love the just the characters. They're all just very eccentric and slightly unhinged, and
Yeah.
they all have issues. I like that Sissone is like just a really uh, everyone's just always ragging on him and crapping on him,
Yeah.
but he's just like he's getting through it. He's kind of
Yeah.
he's
It's a
struggling a
very
lot.
self
He
insert.
reveals his identity on accident. Gets fired.
Yeah.
It
I think he's
is,
pretty relatable because he's just trying his best and it
yeah.
just doesn't work out.
And the way he fights is hilarious.
Yeah. The
Ballet
ballet.
dancing. It's very unique. I haven't seen a superhero that fights quite like that before. But I mean, it makes sense in some way. It's a very athletic sport. Yeah, I think Spider Gwen. She kind of has some ballet inspiration. That's the only one that comes to mind. Uh, oh hey, Stein's Cat and Derpy welcome to the stream. Um,
Oh, are we here? Am I still
yeah,
here?
yeah, you're
Am
still
I?
here.
Am I?
You cut out for a moment there, but you're still
You
here.
still,
Hang
you're
on. I
still,
think I'm right side up
Yeah.
now on my screen. Can we turn this around? Nope. Still upside down. Oh, man. All
Yeah,
right.
and yeah, Roselinath. I caught up on Division 5. I think I had read up to uh the worm fight sequence a while
oh, okay.
ago.
So you're up to there. All right.
And so yeah, there's a few more chapters after that, but it was cool rereading the whole thing and the story and getting caught up in the lore and the world, and yeah, I like what it's building to. It feels like a very strong cast of just a good cast of characters that'll bounce off of each other, and you could tell there's a little bit of the the connection between the two main characters, the arch extant and Winter. They're getting closer. They don't trust each other, but yeah,
Oh
the
yes, there's
sparks are
definitely a lot.
flying.
Oh yeah, that's definitely gonna pick up later. As of right now, I just got out of hiatus, so I finally
Hmm.
returned after a 8-month hiatus. So
Yeah.
it's nice to finally be drawing my comic again. It's been
Yeah.
so long. It's been so busy between like my health crashing and I'm doing much better now, and then moving, and we're still unpacking. Like we just got to Europe. I've only been here for like a month now. We just got an apartment, and hopefully I'll be getting a car this week. Um, and everything like that. But as of right now too, I am also working on making a trilogy of novels of Division 5.
Oh, cool.
Because while I wasn't able to draw all those months for several months because of my health, I was still able to, just put my hands on the keyboard and, clickety clack. So I decided to get into writing. And I actually finished my first book of the 3 books. It's at 90,000 words.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's being uploaded weekly to Tapas right now. So if you do like reading novels, um, as well as comics, if you want to be ahead in Division 5, you can actually read it for free on Tapas. And updates
Awesome.
weekly on Sundays. Yeah, so I got that. And then I got Kickstarter coming up very soon, so that's gonna be really
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah, I saw a little preview of that. The animation was amazing. It's really cool
Oh, thank you.
seeing the
I
characters in
spent
motion.
I spent so long on that animation. I think I spent like 100 hours on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I can tell.
I tried.
That's
I'm not really much of an animator either. I don't I don't really do animations often just because they're very time consuming.
that's for
And
sure.
it's not that I can animate. I know I can, but between like doing that and comic and everything, and like just trying to like self promote and like talk to people and get involved in like community events or just in community in general around comics, it's very hard to squeeze in animation. So
Yeah.
that was a very long
Yeah,
project.
you're already juggling a lot. Uh and animation, yeah, animation is the most time consuming. Because it's I mean it's I come from an animation background, but I've been doing my comic. I switched over to comics kind of for the last few years because I just wanted to tell a longer story, and animation is limited in that it just
Yes,
takes
it is.
forever. If you're a team, you can get it done, but as a single person, uh it's very difficult. It takes a lot longer to animate something than to make a comic. Because comic is really just
Oh,
like
absolutely.
like keyframes of of an animation. Um, yeah, that's awesome
That's
though.
that's that's kind of how I view a comic too. Is like a comic is just basically keyframes of a story. It's not like so many in between frames because like the panels that you make for the comic have to pretty much be the important ones.
Yeah, absolutely. There are some things I feel like you can do in a comic that 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 work better for a comic than they would in animation, and vice versa. Like there's some stuff like I like my comic is made with like an animation style in mind, just because that's my background. But there's some like big scenes that would just be like crowd shots and stuff that would just be a nightmare to animate down the line. But you could do
I would
these.
just close the drawing program
Yeah,
right now.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like it's so. I remember. Have any of you seen The Wind Rises? There's like some insane crowd
I haven't.
shots
No.
in that movie that it must have just taken forever because there's like 100 characters on the screen and they're all just moving slightly and doing their own acting. So I feel bad for the
Nice.
animators that had to. It's only a few
Was that hand
seconds.
animated?
Yeah. It's hand
Oh
animation.
man.
Studio Ghibli. Um,
Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. So I want to see
Always a winner from there.
yeah. I haven't seen the Boy in the Heron. I need to check that out at some point. Um,
I need to watch that. I haven't had a chance.
yeah. So far only one of my friends has seen it and he didn't like it. He said it was boring, but he also slept through half the movie, so I don't know if that's a really good judge of quality of the
Oh,
movie.
Maybe he wasn't the target demo.
Yeah, definitely not. Um yeah. But anyways, so that Kickstarter it's the part 2, right? Cuz you did a part 1 that was successful. You hit all
yeah. So Yeah, I feel like my first Kickstarter was one of those like one-hit wonders sort of moment because
Oh, I don't know
I
about
was
that.
well, okay, so like I severely underestimated it because I was under the impression like maybe like 25 people would like back this. Nah, we got 114, so I was like,
That's
okay.
awesome.
Yeah, no, I wasn't expecting it, and I learned a lot from it, but I definitely did a good job of preparing myself for it. I was doing nonstop marketing and talking to people and socializing for that entire 30 days and like pushing really, really hard for it to be funded. Um, I only made 3 stretch goals and we blew through all of them, and then I had to come up with another 3 stretch goals on the fly. So it was very chaotic.
Dude, those are
And
good
that was my
problems to have, though.
yeah,
Yeah, seriously.
yeah, yeah, no, I'm definitely very blessed in that regard. So like yeah, no, the goal's 1,000, and then we hit basically 5,000. I just rounded up. I had one or two people on the side be like, "Hey, I missed it by a day. Can I like still buy a book?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I haven't sent the order, and just PayPal me it or whatever." Um, so like I'll do stuff like that too. But this next Kickstarter is Division 5 Volume 2, and it's pretty much chapters 8 through 14, where Volume 1 was chapters 1 through 7. So this one's gonna be at the moment it's over 160 pages and it's fully colored and
Wow.
everything. So these are hefty books. And they're $25 a book, so it's not like you're getting like a tiny thing either.
Yeah.
They're bigger than the size of my hand.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. And your book has vertical scroll too, so you're converting it to like reading it horizontally?
I was gonna ask about that as
Actually,
well.
the opposite. Actually, the
Oh,
opposite.
okay.
I actually do all my comic pages in a traditional format first.
Oh,
Really?
okay.
That's how I start all of them. Yep. Because I want it to I prioritize it being made for like a print now
Hmm.
rather than vertical.
That's
So
probably
I
smart.
just yeah, so I pretty much make it available for everyone to either read it in like traditional, or if they want to read it for free, it's in the vertical format. Just because like
That's
most
very
people are on
cool.
like a mobile device and it's easier to read
Hmm.
like a comic that way.
Yeah, that makes sense. And Webtoon
That's
specifically
really
caters
smart.
to that format as well. So, makes sense.
Yeah, it is a little difficult at times. It's or not necessarily difficult now, it's just very time consuming because it can take me a while to convert it just because when you're working like a traditional formatted page, the way everything has to be set up is drastically different than like the pacing and setup and composition of like a vertical format page.
Mhm.
Um and sometimes I have to cut panels, or you have to cut panels or resize them, or like sometimes I have to draw a few extra things over them just for the vertical one. I, I try not to now just cuz it's it's just to have less work. I try to make it to where I don't need to draw over it.
It's seamless. I wouldn't know. Like if you hadn't told me that it hadn't always been vertical scroll, I wouldn't have known. It's seamless. And the fact that you're making it with print in mind to begin with is super duper smart because so many people I know, like a lot of the people I met when I first kind of got active on Twitter and Global Comics were the webtoon community, and they're all vertical scroll, and I see people having trouble figuring out how to go from vertical scroll to print. So to be like kind of reverse engineering it, but then still kind of fixing it so that it seems naturally vertical scroll is super. That's super big brain marketing. So top tier.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's kind of funny because when I first started making Division 5, I uploaded to Webtoon back on December 15th, 2019. And I was only drawing in the size that Webtoon had, and this was before I knew like anything about like comic community. Like I didn't even realize there was like
Mm.
comic communities. It was very like I wasn't aware. I wasn't enlightened about it. And I saw a lot of people like have like a lot of high quality comics and stuff like that, and then I eventually went, oh, maybe I should really resize my stuff. So I ended up resizing like 190 pages or whatever
Mhm.
of like this small like webtoon pages, and I made it available for volume 1. And then after that, I went, okay, I really want to see my stuff. I want to see my comic as a book. That's like my ultimate goal. And I was like, okay, we have to make sure this is all like traditional format first because it's priority over the vertical. I make all my artwork in Adobe Photoshop and my animations too. And the way I like work with it is I make all my panels its own like folder, and then I can just click and drag it over into like
That's
another
cool.
file and resize it. Yeah, and keep all the layer information so I can easily adjust stuff.
That's smart. Must have, that's must have just grown from a lot of trial and error, right?
Oh yeah, yes. um,
Yeah,
I
I agree with Lee in that yeah, it's seamless. It looks like it was made for the webtoon format. I was surprised to learn that you made them print first. Um, yeah, I tried to convert my comic to webtoon format, but it did not work. I think maybe because it's hand drawn, and sometimes when you blow up stuff, it's like it's more obvious that the like pen strokes are larger or smaller. So I kind of just uh, gave up.
yeah, it's very difficult, and like when you're making a traditional page, you're thinking in like a Z kind of like direction where it's
Mhm.
like left to right. Whereas
Yeah,
in like vertical, you're sort of doing that, but not really. Like I still try to think of a Z format from left to right with like my dialogue, my speech bubbles, but the panels you don't really have to do that much with. You kind of just slap it on there, move it slightly, or even like rotate the panel very slightly because you're just going up and down.
yeah. It's a lot more, much more vertical Z's than more wider,
Yeah,
spread out Z's.
yeah. I find that there are a lot of comics that I've seen that where they struggle to make their stuff into a vertical format, and then vice versa. Because when I make my comic too and my panels, I also try to keep in mind of how I'm going to make it into like a vertical format too.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to think in like both at the same time when I make my stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I admire vertical storytelling. It's like it's sort of like regular traditional comics and then vertical scroll. It's like trying to tell the same story, but you got to tell it in two different languages. So
Yep.
like I feel like I don't know if I could wrap my brain around. Like I'd have to kind of rethink the way I write to write in a vertical scroll because it is like you can tell the same story, but like you said, because of the way the eye goes, you have to arrange the panels in a different way. So I mean, the fact that you're doing that is you're sequentially bilingual. So that's awesome.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I think I made a little like mini tutorial as well
I think I actually
on
saw that. I think I remember when you posted that.
yeah, on Global Comics and
Hmm.
on Twitter or X, whatever it's called now. I always call it the Bird app.
Sure.
Um yeah, no, I've worked with people who try to convert their stuff. It is very hard with vertical to traditional just because like you have a lot of like very long panels that you have to like
Hmm.
compress and make tiny, and then it ruins the pace of it, and then it breaks that Z formation of how like the eyes go across like a traditional page.
Yeah, it's probably it makes sense. It'd be harder the other way around. Um, I think so. There one of the benefits of the vertical scroll is you can do reveals. You can have more reveals because like on
Oh
comic
yeah.
pages, you're sometimes you'll just like glance at the bottom of the page and spoil the next scene for yourself a little bit. The
Yep.
vertical scroll, it's much more limited, like
I
viewing
found a way
window.
around that. When working on my comic as I go, I
Hmm.
do splash pages with that.
Yeah,
Oh, that's a good way to do it. Yeah.
definitely.
And when you do splash pages, it's easy to just slap down on a vertical format too.
Hmm.
Because I treat my splash pages as something that's supposed to be like revealing or very story important, or like, or I guess in a way shocking, like something that's like
Yeah,
a shocking moment as well.
yeah.
So yeah, I try to do that too. So you can always get around with that with like splash pages instead of like, oh well, just spoiled myself by looking at the bottom panel. I guess I'll go to the next page.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just different things to think about depending on the medium that you're using.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And Lee, I'm curious how you do writing for comics. Do you plan out like the number of panels and everything, or is it more a general, like just the dialogue, and you leave it up to the artists to interpret how they're laid out?
That's a great question. It really depends wholly on who I'm working with. Some people, some writers or some artists that I work with prefer a little bit more flexibility. Some people like a little bit more rigidity. For example, I wouldn't say we're doing Marvel method, but with Barbarian Queen Charybdis, it's very much kind of a collaborative thing between Shiro and I. And so like there are literally pages because Shiro loves to do battle scenes and things like that. So like on our one that's coming out, it literally has I think 3 pages. It says Snake Village fight, have fun. And then like the pages that Shiro's delivered are fantastic because there was nothing, no constraints. And I mean, just incredible pages have come out of that. I still, even though this writing's a little bit more serious, like I feel like in everything, like I put a little bit of comedy. So if there's a gag that's comedic timing specific, I might kind of pace it out a little bit in the way, so that the reveal is this panel or the next page or whatever.
That makes sense.
But I write, I guess somewhere, I guess like a Bendis format. I mean, it's just kind of like sort of loose directions, panel by panel usually. Maybe a little bit cinematic, I guess, in the style. Like that's what I started when I first started researching scripts. It was like reading like Alan Moore, which those things are written like a book and a cinema and a film script. But like in Brian Michael Bendis, I read a lot of his like Gaiman pages. But as I've worked with people, I feel like everyone kind of has their own style. Different writers have different software they prefer. I just write in just Google Docs or just like Word or whatever with Grammarly on to make sure I'm not making any massive mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I feel like when you work with an artist, they have the most fun when they're drawing the stuff they enjoy the most. So I try not to put too much constraints, and I'm always flexible on like panel layout and things like that. I always say, if you think visually this will work out better in a way that you can show me, then just kind of block it out with figures and we'll see. And if the page looks better than we do, we'll do it whatever way you say. I'm not like, I never like to have a employer relationship as far as like comics go. I feel like it's so collaborative, and even though I'm paying a page rate, I want to make sure like everyone's having a good time, everyone's doing what they want to do, everyone's no one feels constrained by my words. It's supposed to be something we're both having fun doing, or everyone's having fun doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree with that.
That makes sense with collaboration. You want to play to each other's strengths, and allow the discovery process also to happen. Because sometimes
I've been writing. I'm sorry.
go ahead. No,
I'm not meaning to interrupt you. I was going to say I've been writing comics for a while now, and I'm still like, I don't consider myself an expert visual storyteller because like I just have what I see in my head. And so many times I've worked with someone and they've shown it to me better than I've written it on the page. I'm like, do it that way. From now on, do it that way. So,
yeah,
I've had those moments when working with people before.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, taking art comms and stuff like that. I've had people who like are just send me stick figures and they're like, I want this, and I know immediately like what they want.
That's about the best I can do.
I love it when people send me stick figures. They're just like, I can't draw this obviously, but I want a person like here and a person there, and then like doing this. I'm like, I got you. I know exactly what you're looking for. Like the best thing
done for people
is just stick figures. Oh yeah, I've loved receiving stick figures from people, and they're just like, can you like do this commission for me? And I'm just like, yeah, I got you, easy. And they're like, oh my god, you knew how to draw it. I'm like, but you drew it. Stick figures told me what to do.
That's funny. Yeah.
But I agree though, like any project, all both artists, writers, editors, whoever it is on it, like should all be having fun. Um, I did this massive sci-fi comic that was like 360 panels.
Holy
Um,
jeez.
yeah, I was the main colorist for it, and no, it was three of us working on it, and it was like probably one of the best like comic experiences I ever had. It was vertical
That's
format
awesome.
too. Yeah, no, but when you have a team that like enjoys what they're making, and like all three of us were like, big sci-fi nerds. So,
Mhm.
and the aesthetic and colors and everything, like the story was going on, like worked with us. So if you find people who enjoy the genre you're working with, it makes it even more enjoyable.
What's that comic called? I'm curious.
What is it?
What's the comic called that you worked on? I'm curious.
It's called Mutts. I don't know if
Mutts.
it's still. Yeah, I don't know if it's still up.
Is it about dogs?
No, it's about
Oh,
robots at this company.
okay.
I'm trying. That's like the best way to describe it. It's about these
Robots
like
at a company.
robot dogs at a company.
Robot dogs.
Yeah, robot dogs.
I like
That
it already. I'm sold.
yeah, I'm trying to really figure out how to like describe it the best. That's like the best I can do. It's been so long since I worked on it, but I did all the coloring and some of the backgrounds and whatnot. And we had a flat colorist with us, and then we had the person who did inking and everything. So it was a very intensive 1 month project, but definitely a very memorable one. And I would do it again.
Yeah. I think I'd like to work in a team, collaborate on a comic. I've so far I've
Oh yeah,
only done the solo comic. Everything
I
just by
love it
my
though, man.
lonesome.
I was reading it this morning.
Oh yeah.
Oh god, dude, like the physical comedy just in the first couple of pages
oh yeah.
of that book, like it's so funny. It reminds me of like there's so like the tick, and then like the way that the pages have so much going on. It reminds me of like Mad Magazine, where there would be like doodles in the corner and stuff, and like I mean there's dude, it's so good. It's so good. Like reading it again, I was like, I need to start recommending this all over again to people because it's so like my niche. It's like funny, good cape stuff, but it's like also really smart. And the timing for your comedy is so good. Like when he gets hit with the meteor, it's like, wait, what? And then like the next panel is the meteor going through the head. Oh my god, dude, so good.
It's great. Just the wait, what?
It's,
Yeah,
wait, what?
oh yeah, when I was reading Awesome Man too. I saw that. But it was something like, but all of this was about to change. For you see, after being struck in the head by a strange meteor. Wait, what? And then just it happens. Just breaking the fourth wall for a
Irreversibly
second.
transformed forever. Oh yeah. Yeah. The
Just
first
great.
issue very much breaks the fourth wall. But the thing is, it does, but it's more complicated than that.
Yeah.
It's done correctly.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
narrator is like a character that interacts with the story and has a role to
hmm
play in the long run. Oh man, I'm excited. Um I've been kind of taking a little bit of a hiatus lately. Not really for any good reasons. I've just been playing this game called Helldivers, and it's really fun.
That's a good
Oh
Um,
yeah, I've heard it. I've heard it's pretty
Everyone,
good.
everyone's been playing
the same
Helldivers.
thing kind of
Yeah.
happened when we got Baldur's Gate 3 like a couple months
Oh yeah.
ago. It's bad. It's really bad. But-
I haven't beaten it yet. I'm in Act 2. I haven't beaten it yet though.
oh man.
I am waiting to play Baldur's Gate 3. We just been so busy moving and everything. Like I just got my desktop set up within the last 2 days.
Yeah, it sounds like you've been insanely busy with the move and prepping for the move. I
Oh
assume, and
yeah,
prepping
it's
for your
been
Kickstarter
oh
and
gosh.
other I'm sure other
It's
things as well. Countless.
yeah. I did get up really really early and I played Sons of the Forest with my sister. So it was really nice to like play a video game for a while. My
Yeah.
husband walked in and he's just like, "How long you been on there?" And I just checked my Steam time and I was just like 300 and something minutes.
So you guys are PC gamers. I'm a console peasant.
Oh, I also have console. I just play on PC because the membership I only have to pay for is my internet.
Hmm.
Yeah, my partner has a PS5. We have Baldur's Gate on the PS5, but I do most of my gaming on my PC.
Yeah, same honestly, just because my good old
Yeah.
Arctic PC, he's still kicking. So I just do all my stuff on that. It's just
Yeah.
easier to manage that. But I don't even have like a TV to hook up my consoles to right now. Like our American appliances just don't work here, so we have
Oh
to
no.
go
Where are you
buy
at in
new
Europe?
TVs. We just moved to
If I'm
Germany.
not okay, I was going to say I was
Germany.
like, oh,
Okay.
I'm not trying to like dox anybody, but Europe's a big area, so I figured if I asked you, give me a general idea.
Yeah,
Germany, cool.
I moved to Germany. Like all their appliances here are super different, and uh, before I moved here, I did not know that it's 220 volts
Oh yeah,
and not.
yeah. The voltage is different.
Oh yeah, the voltage is super different, and
Bugs are
now
all different.
I have to be aware of like what I plug in, or I have to double check and make sure everything's dual voltage because we've already tripped the circuit breaker multiple times.
Oh no.
So yeah, um,
Yeah, that's
it,
not an issue you really think
yeah,
about until you're
I was
there.
just yeah, like I didn't consciously think about it. So like I can't use like my kitchen appliances. Like we bought a German microwave, so thank goodness. But
Hmm.
like we can't use like the mixer unless I have like a transformer, um, like mixer, air fryer, anything like that. Like you would use in like your everyday life. I can't just use that. So now we're trying to figure out how we're gonna like or like what new appliances do we need to buy that's like German appliances.
Yeah.
Nice.
I know there's adapters for plugs.
Mhm.
Yeah, but you have to make sure the item you use is a dual voltage item, and if it
Hmm.
goes up to 220, and if it doesn't, you're gonna overload it, and it's just gonna start a fire.
That's crazy. I
Yikes.
mean, I
If
guess that's not like something you think of,
no, oh, unless your circuit breaker is actually
right?
properly working, because if the current's like too strong, the circuit breaker pretty much has this mechanism in it where it's just like, oh, we're gonna prevent a fire, instantly turns off the power. So that's how it works. Yeah, I pretty much went to electrician mode for a few days and went, okay, how are we gonna deal with all this?
Yeah, that sounds like a serious hurdle. Uh,
Eh, Yeah, it's all right though. You kind of just take it one day at a time and figure stuff out, and like we're
yeah,
we're we're like learning things, and I'm trying to slowly pick up like German words and things like that. I didn't have time to learn German before moving here, but
yeah.
I've been pretty lucky because a lot of people here actually speak English. So the language barrier really isn't as bad
Hmm.
because there's been so many times where we're at the grocery store and like we purchase something, right? Um Someone starts speaking in German to us and then like we pause because I'm just like, wait, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to speak. And then instantly I go, oh, sorry about that. So can I help you with that? Like perfect English. And I was like,
That's
okay.
funny.
Um like we were at this furniture store the other day, just getting some stuff, and this woman came up to us and started speaking German and then like realized we were Americans and instantly switched to like perfect like American English, like
That's
American
American
funny.
accent
English.
and every
Wow,
yeah, like American accent and
that's
everything.
impressive.
And I was well, there's a lot of Americans in the area where I'm at, that's why.
Okay.
So they're probably used to it, but it was just so bizarre to like just hear the sudden accent difference. Like I was
Yeah.
like, dang.
Yeah, I remember when I was traveling through Europe. I had learned a tiny bit of French in high school, but it really I didn't need to use it. Pretty much everyone was, but everyone most people could speak English. If not, if pretty decently actually. Like
Oh yeah.
it's not
You don't
as
get that in Japan, by
alienating.
the way.
Oh, I've heard.
Yeah, because when I was in Japan for 3 years, we no, we had to learn some Japanese. I had to get around. If you didn't know some Japanese, you were screwed.
Yeah,
Yeah, you have to. And even if people know or English there in Japan, a lot of people don't really want to like just talk in English to you. It's very rare that happens, at least in my
yeah.
experience.
I almost showed my American privilege by being like rude, and then like, wait, no, we're in their country, so we're the rude ones.
We are the rude ones.
Yeah, they
well,
can speak in their own language if they want to. Yeah.
well, yeah, that's kind of like the expectation is like any country you go to, you should at least know like a few words or
Yeah,
phrases or something, or at least like please and
hmm
thank you or like hello.
Yeah.
be able
Like
to find the
real,
banyo.
yeah, just like really like basic stuff. So I'm making an effort to like just learn little words and phrases here and there, like survival stuff in case I do run into
Mhm.
someone who doesn't know what like a single word of English, and I'm just like, oh no, I have to try to be bilingual here.
Yeah. When I was in Germany, I stayed in Bremen for a night. Like a small, or it's not a small town, it's a city. Um, and there was like a this is just random, but you're just bringing up my memories of Germany. There's like
You're welcome.
this music festival on the river that was really cool. It was like a heavy metal music festival that we went to. Um, and then I stayed in Berlin for a few days as well. And Berlin's really nice. They have like a lot of cool
I want to go there.
museums. They have a giant, the biggest train station that I've ever seen in my life. It was like a, I don't know. It looked like a you know how a mall where you got those like those huge open spaces and like the elevated walkways where you're looking down. It was like a mall, but like five malls like stacked on top of each other. It was really
Whoa.
surreal. It looked like someplace out of Star Wars or something.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, Germany's a cool place. The Natural History Museum, I saw the tallest like dinosaur skeleton in the world. It's like this big long neck. It's like over 3 stories tall. It's really cool. Seeing that in person.
That's cool.
So hey, if you ever visit Berlin, check out the Natural
Oh,
History Museum.
definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm definitely planning to travel a bunch and whatnot. Once like we save up a bit here and there, and like we're actually settled in and not like running
Yeah, yeah,
around and
yeah.
like unpacking and stuff. Yeah, because everyone, as soon as we got here, everyone's been blasting at us. You have to travel. You have to travel. And I'm like, no crap. I have to. No crap. I know. Like we're in a very good
Just
location to travel because countries are so close. Like
and the
it's
rail systems
four.
are great over there. You can get anywhere on the trains.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, no, everyone's been blasting that at me, and I'm just like, hold on, I will. I just have to. Excuse me, but I haven't. I've only been here for like a month.
Yeah. Get settled in first.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
no, but it's been a very pleasant experience so far. Everyone has been very welcoming. I haven't really had any issues with anyone here. Like, the person who introduced us here also has been awesome. So community's really nice here. Like I'm
Great.
out in the middle of like a tiny village, so I am in the definition of a village. If you ever
Is
played
it
Resident Evil 8, you'll know.
Oh yeah, it's one of those.
Yeah,
there's
buddy.
some nice nature, scenery.
Oh, absolutely. Like, it's dark outside because it's about to be midnight here, but like
Right.
during the day, like we have this like gorgeous view of like the mountains and like fields, and like it's very serene and very peaceful, and it's like very quiet here.
That's nice. Yeah, I lived
I like it
in
personally.
LA most of my life, up until a little over 2 years ago, and I moved to Dayton, Ohio, which is very gray most of the time.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, it's very different. LA, I think, yeah, LA's beautiful in its own way. I kind of like the beauty of the sprawling megapolis just in all directions, but um, yeah, it's
Yeah,
different.
no. I'm definitely planning to go on more hikes. I want to hike for the first time, and I don't know how long. Just because like I couldn't really do stuff like that. Um,
Yeah,
I've been taking pictures, and I'm just like, oh, I should draw this. Like, I do a lot of that now. I'm just like, this looks cool. I'm gonna incorporate this later. So like,
yeah.
that's the nice thing about being in a foreign country is like actually being able to like take pictures and take inspiration from that. So I'm kind of like using this experience for it too. It's pretty much what I did with Japan too. So
Yeah. Yeah, everything gets absorbed and, can tap into it in the creative process later.
I was actually very surprised to know that there is a big like manga comic like pulp culture scene in Germany.
That's
Really?
cool.
I
That's
I
cool.
heard of it, but I didn't realize just how many like conventions there are nearby me. Like I was I was very shocked to hear about like, hey, there's a con happening like, the other week or whatever, and I'm just like a con, like an anime con? I'm like, yeah, like comics and manga and stuff like that. And I was just like, oh, I should go to these. I need to find out where these are.
Yeah. Take
Like
advantage.
cons
That's
like
awesome.
yeah, like within an hour from me, and I was just like or about an hour away or whatever, which is pretty much close to, considering where I'm at. And I was like, oh shoot, I'm gonna have to go do that. But yeah, no, I found out there's also like a comic book store not too far away, and I'm just like, all right, cool, I'm in a pretty good location.
Yeah, that's great. Comic book store, small village, but there's still a comic book store and cons nearby.
Yeah, pretty much. I was just like, this is good kush. This is actually a pretty good location.
Yeah.
I could get used to this.
Yeah. I'm actually going to a con later this month. In Indiana, there's a comic convention. Shout
Oh,
out
you
to
going to
Indiana.
Gen Con?
Yeah,
Yeah, I've heard of Gen Con.
I want to go.
yeah. I tried to get a table, but I don't think it's happening. I've just been on the wait list for a few months. I don't
It's
think spots are opening
so
up.
it's so competitive to get on
Hmm.
any of those like lists. Like I've
Yeah,
considered like being a vendor at cons like in the States before, and it's like the tables are overpriced, right?
Yeah.
And then they're just overpriced for what they are. They're overpriced, and you're competing with like hundreds of other artists just to get a little dinky spot on a little table there.
yeah. It's my first time to applying as like a vendor at one of these places, so I guess I didn't really expect, or I just didn't know how competitive it is. So yeah, I wonder what you're supposed to do. Just apply like as soon as it becomes like available to sign
Yeah,
up, like the day
yeah,
of.
yeah, you gotta apply unless you're like a really, really, really big named artist. It's
Yeah.
very difficult to like even get into a convention because most of the time when I like at cons, it's usually like artists who already have like a very big following and whatnot.
Hmm.
Just
Yeah,
kind of
like
how it is.
I would say find a smaller con if you're trying to table. That's what I do. I mean I can't afford the big stuff like Dragon Con and
Oh
I
God,
mean
Dragon Con.
some ones like that. I mean the thing is you got to like especially when you're a little indie, it's like risk reward. Like this table's going to cost me $300 plus, like $300 on the low end for a big con.
Yeah.
And so like can you turn that around? Plus there's travel cuz like Atlanta's 3
Yeah.
hours away from me, so I got to get a hotel. You got gas, you got to eat while you're there. So I mean, it's just I like little cons I can do like in a day. Like if somewhere's like close, I'll try and table it, stuff like that. But man, like if it's a trip, you gotta. I mean, that's a whole investment.
Yeah.
Oh my
It
gosh,
seems really
yeah.
difficult to even like break even in that situation with all the
Yeah, you
costs
have
of
to sell.
travel and
You
table
got
and
to sell a
everything.
lot too. You have
Mm.
to make your money back for the table. It's very difficult.
And then even the cost of printing, you're already like,
Oh gosh,
not
yeah.
making that much of a profit on it if you the comics
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
sell a lot.
Yeah.
I did table at a quote quote con. So back in Japan on the base, they had a convention.
That's
Um,
cool.
yeah, it was like a little tiny thing, and people could go to it, and like the Japanese people could like visit the base and like go to that too. So it was really nice. Um, yeah, well the tables were like stupid cheap because it's like a tiny thing. It was like $30 or whatever.
Hmm.
Yeah, those are the cons I like, where it's like maybe $75 is where it tops out, and you can make $75 if there's enough people walking through. So
Absolutely, yeah. So and then like I
Find me
thought
some of
about the cost
those.
of my ink. Yeah, and I thought about like the cost of my ink, and I do my own printing for my stuff too.
oh cool.
Like I haven't set up my printer yet. It's still in the box since we're still going through everything. But yeah, like I do my own art prints. It's just easier to do my own prints in house. So and I taught myself that like how to adjust color levels and everything like that, so it looks crisp. and like different types of papers. So,
For your
and I've
for your
also made my own
Kickstarter, did
sticker
you do
sheet.
your own printing? Sorry to
Oh no, I did
okay, I
not.
was gonna
I
say.
Oh gosh, actually, I couldn't. I wanted to originally. I wanted to ship
Yeah.
out all those books myself, but the problem is, with military, you can't use the post office for like business purposes. Anything involving like selling anything, because the post office is supposed to be used for like morale only or like support for enlisted members or federal employees and their dependents. um, if I was going to use the post office, I would have lost my command sponsorship, which means I wouldn't have been able to live with my husband. So that was not happening. um, so I had to. It took me a while to figure out like how I was going to do a Kickstarter because I see most people do like a like they ship it themselves, right? They pack and ship themselves, and do all the calculating on that. And then I found out Comics Wellspring does that for you. I was
Hmm.
like, oh, I found a loophole.
Yeah.
They do the drop shipping for me, so that's what I went with. And they do a really good job. I don't think I really had any issues with shipping at all with the Kickstarter. I think
Right.
no, I don't think so because they ship everything in in Gemini packaging. I think it's called.
Hmm.
It's really secures your comics, and protects them.
Send
Um,
you like a test print to make sure everything's lined up, or do
yes,
you just okay?
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, it's in proofs. Yeah.
I do. Yeah, they do proofs. I did a physical proof, and it came out really, really good. Oh no, there was only one complaint that I had from the Kickstarter from like one, two, or three people, and it was because the book was so big, I didn't order for the cover to be thick enough.
Mm,
So the book slightly warps.
oh, okay.
Um, Yeah. So this time around, well, because that was my first physical book ever for
Mhm.
myself, like my first comic book, so I didn't know. Like the colors came out really amazing and the print quality is really good. It was just I didn't take into account that a 176-page comic book full of full colors would be that heavy with the cover. I
Yeah.
didn't think about that. So I was really happy a lot of people pointed that out to me. I was like, okay, now I know what to actually do for the next Kickstarter.
Yeah, just up
So,
the paperweight a little bit. Yeah, that's cool. I've had nothing but good experiences with Comics Wellspring. I mean, like I feel like I've got a good relationship with their customer service department.
oh, same.
Um, yeah. Then they send. Did you order the? They've got a little sampler pack of like all the stuff they do that they'll send you that has all the different paperweights and everything. So like they've got like a little promo pack of all their products they'll send you for free, and you can like look at the different products and paperweight and everything. Printed with their stuff in it, obviously. But yeah, it's a really good company, and now that they just moved to a bigger facility, I
Yeah, they
saw them
did.
announcing online. So I mean, it's only going that's great news, and that means it's only going to get better. So yeah, they're really good. I would say they're probably my go-to printer for my stuff.
Oh, yeah, same. I'm gonna be using them again for this next Kickstarter for Division 5 Volume 2. I already sent in a form and everything. So, and another thing that's really cool about them is they give you like a discount if you use them to print with for your
Hmm.
Kickstarter, which I
Yep.
think is really cool. And if you use like was a crowdfunder, it's even more or something.
Yeah, I actually
Yeah.
did. I did that with Sasone with the first one we did Kickstarter, and then with the second one we did crowdfunder. I really like crowdfunder as a platform. It's just kind of they're kind of new, and now it's such a competitive landscape now with all the different crowdfunding sites coming out. It's hard to drive people over there, but it really is. If I could get my Kickstarter crowd over to crowdfunder, I think I would consider switching over to crowdfunder. Because I mean, everyone there has been very cool too. Like the staff there and have been very nice, and the interface is super easy as well. So it's sort of a little similar to Indiegogo's if you've ever done one over there or seen that interface. But yeah, crowdfunder's great. But I mean, I like Kickstarter as well. It feels like you're a little fish in a big pond over there because there's so
So
much
much
comics
going
that
on.
yeah, it's just so saturated now. So it's feast or famine. You're going to be, you know,
Yep.
a, the big fish over at crowdfunder, but not have the people, or the little fishy Kickstarter, basically.
Oh yeah. Like this time around, I'm using Kickstarter again just because I'm familiar with it, and I already have the
Mhm.
page set up, and so it's all set. I have like the tiers and everything up, and fingers crossed it goes well. And I have 3 stretch goals up right now for it.
Awesome.
Um, the goal's $1,000 again because that's the minimum I need to make sure I
Mhm.
have extra expenses covered, like taxes and other hidden fees that sometimes
Mhm.
pop up. Enough to in case I need to send extra copies, like if someone's copy got destroyed in the mail, at least I can be like, here's
Right.
another free one. Like I'm not gonna gyp someone out of that, um,
Right.
because I've had that happen to me. Um, and Yeah, God, the Kickstarter fee. I don't know if the crowdfunder fee is that huge. Like it takes, I don't know how much it takes from you, but I
They
know
actually have
Kickstarter takes a huge
tiers.
portion.
Crowdfunder does this thing where you can actually, it's you can have them take nothing actually, and then you can
Really?
have, yeah, it's your choice what you do. They do a thing where you get everything. They do a thing where they ask people to cover you, like a fee for you at the end, and then they do like a tip thing. I think I forget exactly, but there's 3
Oh,
different
okay.
tiers, and one you can just be like, give it all to me, and they're like, okay. I mean, I guess they figure enough people, I guess, choose the other ones that it's not that big of a deal. Um, and because I was just kind of testing the waters, like one to one as I could get it on Kickstarter, and one of the guys that runs it actually sent me a message like, "Are you sure you want the Kickstarter model? Because we have the one where you get to just keep it all." And I said, "Yeah, I am. I want it to be fair across the board too, because my Kickstarter people paid this much and that much came out, so I want the crowdfunder people to pay the same amount and the same amount
Yep.
comes out." So I just wanted to be fair across the board. I didn't want the people that came to crowdfunder to get a little message at the end that says, "Hey, do you want to give a little extra money?" Just everything one to one. But that is an option at least it was when I did it, to have you to just take everything. And they also have the option where you can actually, once you hit your end date, you can actually choose to extend it or keep going, which is the big like scary thing about Kickstarter is that your time runs out. So this one, if you're real close, you can be like, okay, we're going to give it one more week, and you can keep going at least. So
That
Oh, that's interesting.
that should be an
yeah, there's a
option.
lot of good functionality, just not the people.
Just
Yeah.
not the yeah. Yeah, running Kickstarter is very, very time consuming and demanding and a lot of prep work. Um, I was talking to a few people. I am very nervous about this one just because I feel like I put like more effort into pushing for my first one than this one. And that's the only reason is because I didn't dedicate enough time to it just because I've been so busy with real life. Between moving and recovery and everything like that, and then working on some other projects. But I have a feeling it's going to get funded. It's just
Mm.
I don't know how funded it's going to get. So I'm wondering if I'm about to have the same experience as the first one where it's gonna blow my socks off, where it's just like, oh, we're back at 5 grand again. Or we just hit the 3 goals, or or even go beyond that. So I'm like anxious, but like in a good way. If that
That's
makes
good.
sense.
I mean, that sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. I might use crowdfunder in the future just because I've heard a lot of good stuff about it.
It's a
Um
real great site. I encourage people to use it. I've been using it as kind of like my victory lap. Like we've been talking about doing a last chance campaign for Charybdis, because now that we've been putting pages out, people are asking about where to get it, and some people might have missed the Kickstarter. So I was thinking we'd do like a last chance campaign on crowdfunder, because you can also, for the most part, bring everything you set up on Kickstarter. You can bring it like right over. So
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
thought about it because I did have that issue afterwards where a lot of people couldn't like get the book during the Kickstarter I ran last year,
mhm.
and they're like, "Where can I get Division 5 Volume 1?" And I'm just like, and like I still get asked that sometimes. So this Kickstarter, I'm including Volume 1 back in it, so people can buy 1 and 2 if they want at the same time.
Nice.
Um, and I also plan to put volume 1 on Amazon as well. I just have to figure out how to do that and go through that. And I was gonna do it earlier, but I didn't have an address to use. But I actually been addressless for like a while now.
during the
but
Amazon KDP as well.
oh
It's just
yeah.
I'm just
The other
have
thing.
to figure out
Oh yeah.
a back cover.
Yeah.
Some other
The
stuff.
the other thing too is I urge people if they do want any of the physical Division 5 books, volume 1 or 2, they should get it through Kickstarter because the way Amazon works, I have to increase the price. So getting it for
Right.
$25 versus 30 plus is a better deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because considering the size and the printing cost for Amazon, and I don't control that on Amazon, so not really.
Gotta work with
Because they take like a massive fee out of that, and you don't get to keep like anything. And it wasn't even just me worrying about keeping anything out of that, not even like a penny or whatever, but it's more like their minimum cost to print my comic book is more than Comics Wellspring.
Yeah.
I was like, really? Wow. I might use Comic Wellspring Shop in the future though, because I found out if you purchase 25 copies, you can just have it
Oh,
stored
they'll do
like
print on demand?
Really?
sort of. You have to
Oh,
buy
okay.
a minimum of 25 copies, and they print it out,
Oh,
and they
okay.
just kind of have it on hand, and then they ship it
Okay.
out if anyone buys it on their website or
Gotcha.
your quote like store.
Gotcha.
Um, that's the gist of what I've like read. So I thought about doing that in the future. Um, I was kind of trying to bank on Global Comics to like give an update on their print on demand because that's what I
Yeah, I was
originally
going to bring
wanted
that
to
up.
use.
Yeah, I was going to
Announce
say
that.
they'd mentioned doing print on demand. I don't know where that's working. I don't know what's going on with that. But I'd do print on demand through them. I've tried to make most of that my landing page is Comics Well or Global Comics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I try to do that too here and there. I'm trying to balance out all three platforms I post to right now. But
Yeah.
yeah, I really want an update on that. I haven't heard like any news about it. I think it's because the GC team is focusing on just the app, like the mobile
Mhm.
app right now, because their whole focus is like they want to bring in more like readers through that.
Mhm.
Makes sense.
Yeah, which is a good thing because if they bring in more readers through like their mobile app, and because a large chunk of people also read on mobile devices, it does increase like the user base and like readership for people. So
Yeah, it helps everyone. Yeah, I love Global
yeah,
Comics as a platform. I hope they do the print on demand. I was looking forward to that as well.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
oh
Awesome Man is
yeah,
hosted exclusively on Global Comics. Uh, Mostly because Tapas and Webtoons restrict the resolution you can post at, which is super
yeah.
annoying. Like I tried to post on Webtoon and it was literally it made it like I had to make it so small that you couldn't even read the text because my pages can be kind of dense sometimes, so it did not work
That's
out.
that's a huge. Actually, I had a whole conversation about that the other day about like reading webtoon comics, and it's hard for me to read some webtoon comics just because the text is like so tiny.
They have such a
Um,
tiny max resolution. It's ridiculous. Like I don't know.
yeah, that's what it is. Tapas is like more forgivable, but Tapas
Hmm.
is a little more strict on the on like your file size. It's
Yeah.
like I don't know. I have to actually look at my. Actually, let me pull it up. Let me see what the resolution is. It's gonna bug
As
me if I don't remember.
as Swiggy Chungus says,
That's one reason I
Webtoon
like Global
stinky.
Comics. It's so flexible.
It is.
Webtoon.
Yeah, Global Comics
So
is great.
my strips for Tapas is 940 px by 3418 px. So 3418. Okay. So like a few
Yeah,
inches.
it's tiny.
Yeah,
It's,
it is. Webtoon you can finagle around with that more, but Tapas is more strict on their size, I think.
I think they're both pretty strict.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
they're strict in different ways.
yeah. And then I like that Global Comics is just more creator friendly and more
Um,
open and open about what they're doing, what they're focusing on. Um, yeah, Webtoons has done some shady stuff over over the years.
Oh, always has been.
Yeah,
yeah.
Always. I'm trying to promote my webtoon version of my comic a little more recently, just because I get the most comments on
Yeah.
Division 5 on webtoon.
Webtoon definitely is
Um,
the biggest platform with the most readers, so it does have
Mhm.
that going for it. It's a big advantage
yeah, which is
to the
why I use
platform.
it.
Yeah.
Tapas, I also get some comments here or there as well, so I still utilize it. I've actually been genuinely surprised at how often Division 5 has been featured on Tapas actually. Um like the other day, I just checked it like less than a week ago. And my novels in the novel picks right now. So that was really nice to see. And then I had it featured under I think it's still featured under, I don't know, I haven't checked. It was featured under the sci-fi comics as well. Like when you go to like the community page on Tapas. So that was really cool to see. So I do have like active Tapas readers right now. So I don't I'm still trying to I'm trying to focus on like all three platforms just because like I have active readers on all three.
Yeah. That makes the most sense.
I've been invited to join other comic platforms, but I'm not doing it just because three is my limit. I
Yeah.
can't.
It's a lot.
It's
It's
like
a
me
lot to
with social
maintain.
media when like everything was happening. Are we on a
Yeah.
thread? Are we on a Mastodon? Are we on a
Oh
Hive? Are we on
man.
a?
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did make a hive just
I
because
think
I thought it
everyone
was
made a lot
cool.
of things.
I'm
Yeah,
s-
the
I'm
platform
so
apocalypse.
man, I'm so bummed because I was like I got into Twitter maybe like a year or two ago, and it was like, and I was like we're really getting into it, and then Elon bought
Mm.
it and it just went to shit, and
Well, yeah, that's what happened.
a lot of poor decisions were made, and I don't I'm just I don't know. Social media kind of overwhelms me. I need to post on more platforms, but um yeah, Twitter was like my main place for posting updates and
Yeah,
whatnot.
same.
Same. I feel like it's harder to push out, like engage,
Hmm.
or not push out, but just get engagement now versus like last year.
Yeah,
Um, like I've noticed
definitely.
such a drastic difference. Like I've had way more engagement with like my artwork like last year versus like right now.
Hmm.
And part of me was just like, is it the stuff I'm posting? Do people just like, like ditch like Twitter or something? I mean, it's partially probably the reason
There was a
too.
mass exodus. I know a couple comic creators that just
Yeah.
aren't even there anymore. Like Hannah
Yeah.
Strauss, creator of Joe Plant, is not on Twitter
Hmm.
anymore. Who I had
Oh yeah.
on last month. Um
Yeah, a lot of people have been like leaving too. So like that's another thing. I was like, okay, people like are going elsewhere. Um I do have a Blue Sky account I made.
Yeah, me
Um
too.
yeah, I don't know if I follow you on it. I have to. I've been trying to find people on it and follow them. It's been a very
Yeah.
slow process.
Blue Sky, I haven't even heard of
Um
that one.
oh, I have it's I was about to be like I have invite codes, but then I realized it's
Now
open
you
to
don't need them
everyone.
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just collectibles. They're just little collectibles you can have. Blue Sky is really nice. It's basically like Twitter, but like a better version. It's kind of like the days of old Tumblr where like you had to like curate your timeline and you had to
Mm.
like follow people to actually see what's being posted.
Yeah, I do
It,
feel like it takes a little more legwork for me to find the stuff I'm looking for. Like I was never a Tumblr person, so it took a little. There's a little bit of a learning curve, but like you said, I do like that you can curate and you can also be like, I don't want to see that, and I don't want to see more of this.
yeah, it's not like filled with ads everywhere like on Twitter
Yeah.
now. I'm just like, why am I seeing an ad like every 2 seconds like Instagram? It's very annoying. I'm like, this doesn't even like relate to me. I'm like, if you're gonna advertise me, make it interesting.
Yeah. It's changed a lot. I think another thing I've noticed, um not to get too political or anything, but I feel like since Elon took over, I've been seeing a lot of like a lot of right wing stuff being promoted like on my timeline, which I'm just not into. So I don't know why it's like they're filling my feed with this stuff. It feels like it's definitely catered in a way. Like certain stuff gets promoted more than other stuff.
Yeah, it definitely does. It's changed significantly.
Yeah.
Um, I don't interact with that kind of content. I don't post that just because, like,
Yeah.
my account's mainly for like
Art.
me personally, myself, and art. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's mine too.
Yeah.
Is just comics and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't really.
absolutely.
I don't usually slap stuff like that. Actually, I don't think I ever. Actually, I'm not allowed to. Believe it or not.
Not allowed to.
Yeah, because I'm a military spouse. We're not allowed to like.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I can't like talk about stuff like that like publicly. Privately sure, but like publicly we can't like be posting stuff about that. Um,
Well,
yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah. So like I can't share my 2 cents on anything, and I don't really want to anyways. I'm just like I just want to talk
Same.
about comics, and I just want to talk about art, and I want to talk about storytelling and movies and TV and things like that. Anyway, so like there's
Yeah.
more fun things to talk about. Anyways,
Yeah. Like
it's just how I am.
I feel the same way. I have opinions on that on all that stuff, but I don't like post about it because it just invites like I don't know.
Negative energy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just
You're not going
yeah.
to change anyone's mind on the internet.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Literally, you're
It
not, and
accomplishes
like.
nothing.
Yeah.
Arguing with people over that stuff, it just doesn't really go anywhere.
Just arguing with anyone over anything on the internet does not like accomplish anything ever, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've
I
never had anyone say I had a great point and their mind has been completely changed.
yeah, literally like it just doesn't work. You just kind of gotta find your own group and you mingle there and you track the energy you put out. So
Absolutely.
I'm a big believer of that. So
Yeah, law of attraction is for sure a thing in my opinion. But yeah. Um, you guys maybe want to talk about the creative, the fictional world, the lore of your respective stories a little bit. Dive
heck
into
yeah,
it.
I love to
Sure.
hear about Lee's lore. I
Oh my
read
gosh, seriously?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's start with you. Because
Okay.
because bleh, I read the auditorium and I really liked
mhm.
it. I like how it's like a
Well,
bunch
thank
of
you.
like little short stories. So, but I'm also like a big person to horror, so
Oh,
it
cool.
intrigues me a lot. Oh yeah, I love horror.
Man, I love
Okay, cool.
the zombie lawyer.
Oh my god, the zombie
That
lawyer!
one
It
was
felt
so
like I
great.
was
Oh
like,
yeah,
it felt like I
Max
was
and
reading
Max.
like a Saul like a Saul
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 Goodman
Goodman.
crossed with Walking Dead.
That's funny.
Yeah, it felt like Saul Goodman in The Walking Dead. Like it did. It genuinely felt like that when I read it, and I was like, "This is my favorite one." I think.
It's a lot of people's favorite one. John Running, the guy that did that with me, he's a good friend of mine. He does lots of horror stuff. He's got a page up as well on Global Comics. His stuff, he tends to skew a little more grim. What I like is like horror. But yeah, like we've done a couple different, started a few different projects together. But yeah, that a lot of people like that one. It's also one of the longer ones too. But like it's all hand drawn too. Like some people did digital, some people did hand drawn, but his is 100% hand drawn, and then would scan it in, and then he would do his own inks over it and stuff like that. Is like super cool. But yeah, Auditorium is fun because it actually started as it was kind of like an homage to Night Gallery, if you guys remember that. It was the other show that Rod Serling did. It was so like not Twilight Zone, but he had another show after that called Night Gallery, which is a little more horror.
Oh,
And so
I
I
didn't know
started
that.
it as it was a short stories. That everything you see in Auditorium was originally going to be a prose, and it was called A Stroke of Malevolence, and it had like kind of like me as the host, as like the Alfred Hitchcock of the thing as the book went on, and then I kind of put those aside, and I was like, maybe I can make these into comics. So that's why they have like it's also a comic. Because I love the old EC Comics Tales from the Crypt. Like that was always the horror host was always what I wanted to do, no matter what the format was going to be. I wanted a horror host. And then I was like, man, I don't know if I really want to self-insert this. So that's why I made Vincent Geist, who is the guy you see on the cover of the Auditorium. They're actually segue pages outside of what's posted on Global Comics that we were working on, planning to do kind of like like you would see the Crypt Keeper in Tales from the Crypt. So like, he'd introduce the story and then we'd do the individual stories that you see on Global Comics. And that was intended to be in print, but I started making the stories. Everybody started getting busy. We didn't finish the segue pages. So I eventually just released the whole thing onto Global Comics, and then I compiled all of the prose and made that the auditorium. I actually have a copy here. So there's actually a print. The auditorium comes in print, but it's all these are all the short stories, and some of these are comics, and some of these are ones that weren't made into comics. So it comes in a lot of different formats.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and the cool thing is the plan is to do different genres. So this one's like horror proper. The next one that I've already started working on is like Weird West, and to do like a sci-fi horror and just have him be the host of every
sci-fi
one,
horror.
just in different genres. Yeah,
My favorite kind of horror.
I don't, you know, like I'm a sci-fi horror artist, and I'm making a comic that's basically sci-fi horror. For people who have read novel, they have said yes, it's a sci-fi horror. Gets worse.
Oh boy.
I don't really see that many comics that are a sci-fi horror. I have found that sci-fi horror is such a niche genre in comics,
Mhm.
and I was really surprised to like find that out. It's very hard to find anyone who does sci-fi horror. It's a very rare
Mhm.
breed to find.
Yeah, that is
It's very
surprising.
unique. Like because I think of things like Predator or like
Mhm.
Alien or like Event Horizon. Like I'm big into things like Dead Space. Like Dead Space is my main
Mhm.
inspiration
The
for like
Thing.
my comic. Oh, I
Mhm.
love The Thing. That's one of my favorite movies. Like I love things like that. And I think about sci-fi horror, and it's just like I even did a Twitter post one time about this, about people's thoughts about sci-fi horror, and I was so shocked. Maybe it's just because of the audience that follows me,
Mhm.
who answered, but a lot of people said they don't really engage in a lot of sci-fi horror, which I found very fascinating considering my
Yeah.
comics also that. So anyone who
Yeah, it's
does sci-fi
surprising.
horror, I jump on that real
That's
fast.
awesome.
Yeah. I think
It's weird that genre is so prevalent in things like movies and video games, but you're right. I can't, like you said, when you said there's not a lot of sci-fi horror in comics, I was like, well, man, I can think of so many movies and so many video games, but I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of a lot of like a comic book that's like something like Alien or a Predator or something like that.
Yeah, no. I'm trying to like find more like sci-fi horror stuff, and it doesn't even have to be like mainly sci-fi horror, but
Mhm.
like even if it has like a partial amount into it. I
Mhm.
found a lot of people like who do sci-fi don't usually do like horror with it or like
Mhm.
yeah.
combine those two genres. And I can see why it's kind of hard to combine those two genres as well.
Mhm.
Like I'm basically combining four genres for my story. I don't know how I'm doing it. It just works, I guess.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
works.
same.
It just works. I'm just like, this is the story I want to be made. Like, because when I made my comic, I was just like, I don't know any story like the one I'm making. I'm just gonna make it myself. That's pretty much what
That's what
happened.
Stan Lee
Hell
says.
yeah.
Make the comics you want to read.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's what I do. I'm just like, this doesn't exist. I'm gonna make it exist. No one's gonna do it. I'm gonna do it myself.
That's the right mindset to have. Yeah, I think my comic is an amalgamation of a lot of things. I think there
Oh,
definitely is some
definitely.
sci-fi horror elements in there.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's
It's
why I also like Awesome Man too. But I
Mhm.
love the humor in it and everything.
yeah, it's like humorous, but it gets like really dark sometimes. There's some
I
really
love
Mhm.
fucked
that.
up.
Mhm.
I don't know if you guys have gotten to issue 6, with human Gobo. This hobo
I'll
gets
be
like it's
I'll be there soon.
yeah.
Mhm.
I'm planning to reread and also binge. I'm trying to catch up on comics since I've been so busy.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, there's some crazy stuff that happens, but it's definitely more on the action, comedy, sci-fi
Oh yeah,
genre
definitely.
in general. Maybe it's more a little bit of existential horror.
I love existential horror.
Yeah, and I think also I think the idea of superpowered beings is I feel like just kind of uh like has horror elements just tied to it, like just body horror, the transformation, like
Mhm.
just the amount of power, like this, that you have, and one of my favorite comics that I read recently is the Immortal Hulk run, and that really just leans heavily into the horror, the body horror of the Hulk, and
Mhm.
Oh man, can't recommend it
All of that.
enough. The art also is just amazing. Yeah, yeah. I think it's definitely an unexplored genre that is one of my favorites that should be delved
I
into more.
die
Big
hard from
time.
sci-fi horror. I don't have enough in my life. Like I already watched all the big stuff and whatnot, and I'm always on the lookout for like sci-fi horror comics specifically, just so I can like annoy people, annoy the creators, and be like, I love you, thank you for making sci-fi horror.
Hell yeah.
I'm just
Oh
like,
man.
thank you. I love reading it so much.
S-
Um,
Man, speaking of sci-fi horror, I want to ask some questions about your story, about the story, the lore, uh, like the Cosmos Plague. Is it Cosmo or it's the Cosmo
Cosmos Plague.
Plague? Okay,
Yeah,
Cosmos.
Cosmos
Yeah,
Plague.
yeah.
If you said
Um,
Cosmos Plague, same thing. People would know.
yeah. I've been piecing together that it's an alien planet. I think it's because
Yes,
there's talks of like these colony ships that landed like hundreds of years ago or something, and um, Exton is part of a group that has access to that advanced technology. And then
absolutely.
in the Cosmos Plague, I was curious if it was. Also, feel free to if there's if I'm getting into spoilers or stuff that you don't want to reveal yet. Feel free to just not answer. But yeah,
My
Cosmo.
comics too far in where there's like super big major spoilers,
Mhm,
but it'll start getting into that soon in comics. So
yeah.
we're at a part where like anything you talk about right now is not like I probably won't say no. If you read the novel right now,
Okay.
I'd probably be like, hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just the Cosmos Plague. I'm wondering if that like stems from them being in space in the cosmos, something from outside of like the planet that caused it. Or I'm just curious, like how long has it been in the world? It seems like Winters doesn't isn't fully aware of it as much as Exton and his group is.
No, people on Division 5 are not aware of Cosmos Plague.
Yeah.
Um, it's more of like an Earth problem right now.
Okay.
I have to be very careful about how I talk about the subject.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're fine. No, it's I like the challenge. Cosmos Plague is an oncovirus. I don't know if you guys are familiar with oncoviruses.
Mm-mm.
Pretend I'm not.
Oncovirus. Okay, oncoviruses cause cancer, essentially.
Okay.
Um, so things like what's I'm trying to think of like the most like prime examples you might know. Um, give
Virus
me a sec.
that causes cancer or causes tumor growths.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. I'm trying to think of ones that like people may know. I guess HPV is the one that top off my head. Like people like people might know, or like hepatitis B and C. Um, but yeah, no, they basically cause like cancer in the body, and it is an alien oncovirus. So it's not a human based oncovirus.
Yeah.
Um, because Cosmos Plague causes tumors. It's mostly
Hmm.
focused in like the thoracic cavity, so like your chest.
Yeah, the
Um,
princess she died from the plague. That scene was gnarly.
she
Like
had an
I thought for a
alien
minute
experience.
something was gonna like a chest burster was gonna come out for a second, but
It's just tumors.
it's almost more disturbing that it's tumors. It's like something that like is more closely tied to like real uh yeah like real cancer that everyone has dealt with in some way.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like and like the way Cosmos Plague works is like it grows so fast.
Yeah.
You're pretty much screwed. Um, if you have it. In my Discord server, I have files that you can access where
Hmm.
it talks about like how long it takes until like so and so happens, and like what the procedure is like of what happens if you do have Cosmos Plague and everything like that. Like people can explore if they so wish to.
Yeah.
So you've
But
made like
yeah,
real like lore files. That's awesome.
yeah. So
I love stuff like that.
Yeah,
on my
same.
Discord server, in the Division 5 official, the more you interact in the server, the more XP you get. So the more
Okay.
Oh, that's
XP you get,
wild.
your employee level goes up. As your employee level goes up within Seraphic Inc., you get access to more files from Seraphic.
Oh, wow.
Um,
That's
Get
really
higher
cool.
clearance levels. I love it.
oh yeah. So it goes up to level 10, and a level 10 is like, you become an arch essentially.
Ooh, get access to
So it's like,
all the classified stuff.
yeah, so I have a lot of art in there that's not even posted on my Patreon just because it's like heavy spoilers.
Yeah.
Um, oh yeah, like I have a lot of stuff there and a lot of information that's like in those files that like you don't pay to win. You have to like work your way up to actually like access that information if you really want to know the answers about things.
Yeah.
That's really cool, though. I mean, that's a good way to reward people for interacting with your IP. That's really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I learned that from a few other servers I was in. I was like, I'm gonna incorporate this idea because I was just because I started to get into like a role play aspect with my story. Like I was like, all right, guys, all of you are employees at Seraphic Inc. It
Mm.
kind of started as a joke, and I just kind of went with it. And that's what I also do my Kickstarter. For anyone who like backed Volume 1, like they got like employee like ID card. It has like
That's
my QR
cool.
code. Yeah, it says like please don't share this. Like you'll be terminated if you do. Um, like like role play aspects like that,
That's
and
funny.
I'll have stuff like that again in this next Kickstarter actually.
That's
Great.
cool.
Yeah.
That's really neat.
But yeah, Cosmos Plague is an alien oncovirus that causes tumors, and it's not like human biology. It's something different, so it's a little more difficult to study. But it
Yeah.
has been around for a long time, and it is a problem on Earth. Big
Okay.
problem, very big problem.
Does the tribe do they know about Earth, or do all they know is this world that they've lived on?
They do. General population does not know about Earth.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
Um, the best way I can describe it is imagine if you went back in time to like I don't know 1500 or something and showed an iPad to someone and someone would be like witchcraft.
Yeah.
So that's basically the experience with the natives of Division 5
Yeah.
for people from Earth. So but no, the tribes are not aware of Earth, like general population of tribes.
Yeah. I'm excited to see how more of the history and the world kind of comes together, gets revealed piece by piece over time. That's through
Uh
Arch Exton, who has that
yeah.
outside knowledge.
Yeah, because the way I did it is like you're learning through both extent and winter. You're because I'm glad I fooled a lot of people into thinking I was right. My comic was a fantasy when they first started reading
Yeah.
because that's Winter's perspective.
Yeah.
Because in her mind, she's seeing all this technology and she's like, "This is magic, right?" And you have extent there going, "No, this is like technology. This is science. Like this is hard science."
That's something I
And
like when it seems like fantasy, but it's actually all
it's an
science. Everything.
illusion.
Yeah. Everything has an explanation. They just don't necessarily understand all of it.
Yeah, exactly. In like for winter right now, in especially in me writing my novel, I'm on book 2 now actually. I'm on chapter 8 writing it. And by this point, Winter is very much used to like Earth technology and she just accepts it. But in the comic as you read and or novel, whichever you choose, whichever path you choose to read, um, like the way it's working for her is her worlds or like her worldviews are shattering right now.
Yeah.
um the more she gets exposed to things, her beliefs pretty much change, and like it's kind of the Aladdin experience. It's like a whole new world. It's like kind of like
Yeah.
that.
That's funny.
um and you'll learn that extent. He is knowledgeable about Division 5, but he's not he never actively engaged with like the different tribes and the cultures of them. So you'll be learning about like how the cultures work through like extent learning from Winter. So they learn from each other like throughout the whole story too.
Yeah. I like the world building. Um, it kind of gives reading the story. I kind of got like Avatar vibes a little bit, the journeys and like
I get that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I guess the ice powers also. It's like I like that it has to stay attached to her, and it's like there's
Yes, it
limits
does.
to it. It's not just Elsa, giant snowflake.
No.
Her clothes change, giant fortress just builds itself, Doctor Manhattan style. Um,
Yeah, no, Winter is definitely not a magical little Elsa. She there is limits to mutation. Like her mutation's a double-edged sword, honestly,
yeah,
quite literally.
yeah, with all
Extent
her arm, her skin getting ripped off, and the bandages. Like
Oh yeah,
it's
there's a
always
whole
really interesting
backstory
when
to that
power has
too.
serious drawbacks like that.
Yeah, and like for her, and you like not if you read the comic for a little bit, and it's really not too far in the story, you find out that like she has like a lot of people do wear bandages, just other reasons for that, but for her specifically, she like never takes them off because she doesn't like showing people the damage done to her arms or face.
Right.
Um, a lot of that is due to a past event that happened that's associated with it, and like she's been shamed for it.
Well,
She also feels very alienated because and she says it, she's never met another Winterlance. She's never met someone from her tribe like with her mutation,
yeah.
like with her abilities. So there's like already that as well. And but here comes Law and Arch Extent, and he's not that long into knowing her. He's like, "Oh, I already know how your mutation works. This, and this." And she's like, "What?" She's like, "How did you know?" He's like, "I just make
Scientific
observations."
method.
Yeah, well, another thing about Extend is he's, because he is very interested in Winter. At least at this point, he's interested in her because of her actual biology. Like that's what
Yeah.
at this current time, um, he's making like observations that no one else has like bothered to like also do for her. That's why when he tells her, he's just like, your abilities are more of a defense mechanism. It's not really for offense. It's impressive that you managed to do that, but you're wrecking your body because of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Providing insights to her powers that she never knew about.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
but
Lee, I wanted to ask Sisone, does he actually have powers? Or is he just like really good at ballet dancing?
So
I want to know that too
he
because I did read a little bit of stuff.
so he does his power are it's indestructible feat. Okay, we never
Oh,
explain why it's like super strong feet. That's why there's a scene where he like kicks the meter, the parking meter, and it's like flies over. So
yeah.
that's his deal. Like that's the only strength he has. So like that's not a super great power. It's basically like imagine you just had like a cinder block on each hand. Like that's why he uses the dance because the easiest way to use his indestructible super strong feet is just to swing them around and hit people with them. So that's why dance is like the
I love it.
the mode of attack. Um, and
Did
we
he
actually
study
the
for a
second
while?
issue is being written. Did he
Okay.
study for it? Oh, well, there's actually in the second issue we're doing. There's a famous Batman the Animated Series episode called "Almost Got Him." I don't know if you guys ever saw that one, but it's the Batman's Rogues Gallery sitting around telling stories about how they almost got Batman. In the beginning of the script for issue 2, it's a rogues gallery that it's only issue 2, so we've never seen these people before anyway, but we present them like this well-established rogues gallery. But they're
Yeah.
all trading stories about how they think Sassoon got his powers. So like one person says he tiptoed through a radioactive puddle. There's a pirate guy that says that he opened a cursed treasure and was given the feat by a radioactive parrot or something, and someone goes, "That's your origin story. That's not his. That's your origin story." He goes, "Yar, it be, it be." So and so like they go around the table giving all these origin stories, but we never say what the real one is, and then they're interrupted, so we don't ever find out what the origin story is.
We'll
So
never
that's another
know.
one of the running gags is like we don't ever explain where the powers came from
I
because you
love
don't
it.
really have to. It's just he does what he does. How he does it or the way he got it isn't that important as what he's doing. Is kind of the way I like to start as far in as you can on the story. So
Being ambiguous and not revealing it is a choice in of itself, and it's funny that it's just ridiculous, and there's no real explanation for it.
Yeah.
I feel like you don't even need one
Yeah.
technically,
Yeah.
just because like the way like like the atmosphere that like the world is in general, and
Yeah.
like how unhinged it is. It's like it's unhinged. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah, everyone's got weird
it's like
powers or
it's like
crazy tech.
if
Exactly.
there was any explanation, it could be the wildest thing, and you'd be like, mm-hmm, that makes sense.
Exactly. And that's the way I like to kind of present. I love a MacGuffin. And so, like, his powers are kind of the MacGuffin in this, and the rest of the world is so bananas that if you say, "Yeah, that ballet guy has indestructible feet," that's kicking the pirate guy in the face,
I love
and
it.
that's just the world's so weird that just okay, that tracks.
Yeah, why not?
But yeah, I love a good MacGuffin.
Yeah, that's great. Man, I loved the boss's reaction when he finds out that he's Sisson. He's like, Give me, you gotta give me some powers. Hook it up, hook me up."
Give me superpower. Give me
Yeah.
superpowers.
that
Make me
that
one of
made
you
me crack
guys.
up because like that totally would happen. That absolutely people would absolutely like yeah, give me some of those. Like I want to I want to be a superhero.
And then when he's like, "I can't," he's like, "You're fired."
Yeah,
You're fine.
get out of my sight.
That's great. Yeah,
Yeah,
so sounds pretty good. Yeah, no, I definitely enjoy your comics that you write. So,
Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. It's good to hear.
yeah, for sure. Once I can start my job and stuff, I wanna buy comics. So sure, I want to actually buy y'all's comics.
That's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, I really appreciate it. It's always the hardest part is just putting books in people's hands. So, and it's always great to like have peers that also read your book because people are reading your books and you're like, oh well, hey, if you like mine, there's one that I like, and I always try and do that. I mean, you guys see like on Twitter or whatever, I'm always trying to boost signals because I really believe like the way we succeed as indie creators is for everybody. Just keep pushing everyone towards the top. I don't.
Yeah, thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't try and I
You
don't
gotta work
believe in
together.
yeah, exactly. I believe in co-opetition or whatever they call it. Like, I mean, we all want to make a little bit of money and we all want to get up there, but like, and not at the cost of pushing anybody down. I always try and just elevate everybody.
Yeah, no, and that's a problem I've come across in um comic communities. Just avoid people who like push others down, and you just want to look for the people who uplift others. Like anyone who talks about their comic and stuff, like I always welcome it, and I'm just like,
Mm.
no, like I want to know what your stuff is about. What's going on?
Absolutely, yeah. Rising tide raises all ships, or how's that
Yeah,
phrase go? I think it's
Yeah.
something like
yeah,
that.
close enough.
Close
Yeah, I
enough.
think I
Yeah.
was right. I think I was right.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, the
Always
global
trying to
comics community is
share.
great for that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm always trying to share like-minded creators stuff
Mhm.
that I like.
Oh, absolutely. I'm always on the hunt for anyone who writes like sci-fi horror action. Honestly,
Mm.
though,
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
definitely I try my best to find other creators who write similar niche, just because like
yeah,
I always find it so crucial to find other people like who are in the same niche, because or at least somewhat, just because like you can build off each other so easily and learn from each other.
absolutely. And that's honestly part of what the Oddcast is about is interviewing, creators that I admire and want to, share your guys' stuff and have conversations about creative
Oh,
process and just, pick each other's minds and I feel like there's not a lot of just discussions with like I think that the two guest format is something that's interesting to me. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, like I'm introducing you guys myself and in a dynamic that might have not existed otherwise.
yeah,
Having
actually, I like it because I've been on like
Yeah.
a two guest sort of like streams before, and it's always nice to have like a third or other or, an other creator in the room if someone who's like hosting it isn't like
Mm.
necessarily a creator themselves, and just to hear like different perspectives. Um,
exactly different viewpoints, perspectives.
I always like
Um,
it when I always like it when it's a party in the room, basically.
yeah,
Like for like creator talk or talk shop.
absolutely. Yeah.
takes a little bit of the pressure off too to have someone else here. I'm glad someone else is. Usually when I've gone on shows lately, I brought Shiro. I don't know if you guys follow Shiro, so very unofficial on Twitter. Illustrator for Barbarian Queen Charybdis, and also did the Spider-Man cover, the homage cover we did for Sasone. Oh, and also my Trevor project cover as well. But anyway, I usually bring Shiro with me as like my extra person to help when I don't know what to say. Shiro's usually got something to say, so I'm glad we got somebody else here, so I don't feel like I gotta fill all the dead space.
Yeah. What was their name again? I'm gonna follow them right now on Twitter.
Oh, so very unofficial. Yeah.
Silvery.
Yeah, Shiro's unofficial. Yeah. Shiro's incredible artist. Just style chameleon, and then like for Charybdis, we're doing I basically just Shiro style, which is cool. It's kind of like it's a little Western, but it's got a little bit of like 80s and 90s manga and anime inspired to it. So it's very cool. Hopefully, we'll scratch that some of that manga market that seems to be blowing up here in the States.
Yeah. Yeah. American comics are not doing well against manga.
Nope. No. Well, yeah. Well, manga is like I don't need to like read. Like they don't keep rebooting the same story over and
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
That's a big
But
thing I like about manga. Is it's self-contained. It's usually like one creator's vision.
it's the story.
Mhm.
It's there. It's
Yeah.
like bam, this is the story. You're reading it. That's what happens. It's
From
like
what
oh no, it's not like oh we're gonna reboot it for like the 20th
Yeah.
sixth times. You know.
Yeah, from one arc to the next, it's not like the character isn't completely like a different character, just like their dynamics change completely. I was really bummed after Immortal Hulk. Ryan Otley, who's one of my favorite artists, was working on the series after that. I forget what it's called, but it was like about Starship Hulk. But they didn't. Yeah, I was frustrated by it because they basically just didn't really address any of the plot points from the previous arcs that like none of the
Oh,
stuff
gotcha.
they didn't address anything from Immortal Hulk. They basically just kind of like let's what if Hulk did this, and there's all these like like Immortal Hulk revealed all these crazy different aspects to Bruce's psyche. Like there's like the Devil Hulk and the regular Green Hulk is like his inner child, um and then there's Joe Fixit, and they each played like a role. Like Joe
Mm.
Fixit was like created as out of necessity because whenever he came out of being Hulk, he was like naked somewhere in a place he didn't recognize and had to like had to basically like survive in urban environments, like find clothes. And Joe Fixit became this kind of like you know charismatic like alter ego that could just survive in an urban environment really well and like smooth talk his way out of situations and make money gambling really fast. So yeah, it's great that manga is like a solo creator, so they have the lore all the way from the beginning to the end, like it's all incorporated into the story. um
I mean, I love Western comics. I still pick up a lot of
oh
Western,
yeah.
well, not a lot. I
Oh,
still pick up
absolutely.
Western books, but like more and more, I'm buying more independent stuff. I'm buying more stuff from Image, which I guess isn't really independent anymore, but is smaller than Big Two.
Yeah.
Like one of the books I read regularly is Tim Seeley's Local Man, and that's a super good, like it's like a 90s throwback but with modern sentiments, the best way I can put it. Like there's a lot of homage to like the 90s books, and I'm a big Tim Seeley fan anyway. Like I've read a lot of like Hack Slash and stuff like that, but it's just there are good modern Western books, but like you said, it's hard to keep up, and then there's like events after events, and then like
It's too much.
it's a lot. It's
Yeah.
it's the same feeling I get
Consistency.
when with like the Marvel universe. It's like just so much stuff, you know,
It's like you
like the
have to read about
MCU.
this character in the
Hmm.
MCU from this universe to
Hmm.
compare it to
Hmm.
Earth number, blah blah. I don't even like. I can't. It's
Yeah.
too much.
Yeah.
Like
I,
manga is just straightforward. It's linear, and that's how a lot of like JRPGs are as well. It's just it's linear. It's straightforward.
yeah, like there it is cool that it's a shared universe, but at the same time I wish there was more coherency throughout like like characterizations remain consistent and didn't like change drastically with each new writer that they bring on.
I mean, that's why I love like one shots and stuff, or like when they would do like when they used to do like Ultimate Marvel Team Up and stuff like that. You know, you've got like there's one story and one comic with two of your favorite characters, or maybe one of your favorite characters and a new one.
Yeah.
Like it's just I love the idea of superheroes, but like the lore gets so deep that it gets intimidating. And I mean, you know, just they always say just pick up and read a comic wherever. If this looks good to you, just pick it up and read it. And somehow that worked for me when I was a kid in the 80s. Or in the 90s. I never cared what issue it was. I would just read a comic book. But as an adult, I'm like, I don't know if it's the information age or what, but I'm like, no, I have to know everything. I have to know what happened on the first page of the first comic before I can read issue 50. And like as a kid in the comic shop in the 90s, I'd be like, oh, issue 725, sure, Spider-Man. So at some point, it just maybe that stuff became more important in the storytelling. I don't know, but I mean, I still have a huge place in my heart, obviously, for Spider-Man and you know, Western books. It's really hard to keep up with all that stuff, and plus, comics are super expensive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, like it's just no. Like I pick up Western comics. I actually picked up a Hades and Persephone one recently. Gosh, it was by darn, I don't have the book on hand right now because everything is like not unpacked. Let me see if I can find it. It's probably I think it's in my Twitter images. I'm trying to remember the name of the creator, but it's I know they have like things like Lore Olympus, so like Barnes and Noble and stuff like that. So it's nice to see things like that. And I've been turning towards more like indie comics to just like read and enjoy. Honestly, like the small stuff in Western, I can't. Anything that's like massive or big that involves like 5 different universes, I can't do it.
I remember when I first discovered Invincible, like several years back. I was
That's a good one.
Yeah, it was really refreshing to read like a, you know, it's a self-contained story, and then also it's just more adult and more brutal than regular comics. And
I like Invincible. Honestly, I found out about it through the TV show.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
it's
did a
so
good job with that show.
It's so cool that it's finally got a TV show fully animated. They get to even flesh out the story. So it's like a lot longer. It's more each episode's like an hour or something. But yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's you were going somewhere before I chimed in. Sorry about that.
Oh no, I was trying to find it. Oh, it's by Alison Shaw. It's called Persephone Hades Torment.
Okay.
I
Is it
just found it in
connected
my
to
Twitter images.
Lore Olympus, or is it a separate thing?
No, it's a separate thing, but I love picking up like little indie comics like that where it's like one shots or short stories, or it's just linear. Like just they're good. But yeah, no, I recently read Persephone Hades Torment, and I fell in love. It scratched the Hades Persephone itch in me really well. It's like, thank you.
What are
I almost picked up Lore Olympus though.
Yeah. Maybe we can do some shout outs. Is there any comics you guys have read recently that you'd recommend we check out? Because it's always nice to add stuff to the reading list.
Let's see.
Shout out one.
Go ahead.
So recently, acquaintance of mine, her name's Blue Mouse, and I decided to reread her comic called Light Within Shadow, and it's
She tweeted
so good.
about that.
Yes, it's very, very, very good.
Light Without Shadow? Is that what you said?
Light Within Shadow.
Oh, Within, okay.
Yeah, the main character, she has this like aura vision, and she can see like beings like auras or like spiritual force. There's a lot of action. The characters are very memorable. I love the main two, honestly, which is Lizzie and Zach. And Zach is essentially like a doofus. He's just a doofus. It's like the best way I can describe him. He's unhinged. And Lizzie's trying to find out more about like her mom and like memories that she can't remember and things like that. Um, it's really good. I definitely recommend checking it out.
Cool. Yeah. I will check it out. It's on the list. Well, you been checking out anything recently?
Yeah, man, I could go all day on the indies I love. I mean, you guys see what my feed looks like. Some top ones, I would say, my good friends over at We Have Issues podcast, they have a book called Deathless that just, its second issue I think they just mailed out the second one. They did the Kickstarter. They're working on the third issue. So Deathless is a really good one. Kingsville by my friend Tommy Hewells. He has another podcast called World at War Comics. But Kingsville, he just funded the second issue of that one. Lost Between Worlds, if you guys, a lot of these are on, I think
Lost Between Worlds, yeah.
Edwin, yeah. Edwin's super cool guy.
Edwin's cool.
He and his artist for Lost Between Worlds actually designed a character for our Barbarian Queen Charybdis series.
Very cool.
So that was cool to be able to collaborate with them. So yeah, Lost Between Worlds, and he's got, I think, his 1 through 4 I think is up on Kickstarter right now for his collected edition, I believe. Path of the Pale Rider, it's like zombie post-apocalyptic western. It's a real genre bender. In fact, if you mention sci-fi horror, that might be one that might be up your alley.
Yeah,
because it's like zombie adjacent. It's weird. It's got a sci-fi. It is zombie sci-fi western horror. Like that's the best way I can describe it. And there's a giant zombie bear, so that's fun.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's super cool. I'm sure I'm forgetting someone. Oh, and obviously, this goes without saying, but check out all of Shiro's stuff. Shiro's also on Global Comics. They do a comic called Super Mario Adventures Continued, which I don't know if you guys ever read Nintendo Power back in the day, but there used to be Mario and Luigi comics in there called Super Mario Adventures. And so what Shiro does is with a writer, they continue those comics in the same style. Like it's imperceptible that it's a different person doing the book. Like Shiro manages to incorporate that style from the official comics so well that, I mean, you wouldn't even know. Like it's amazing. And that's been featured in list after list on Global Comics for their humor stuff. So if you guys are like Mario fans or just like that kind of stuff, like Shiro does a lot of really cool stuff. And Shiro also has their own comic called Bootleg Cookie that's like semi-autobiographical.
Great.
And I could keep going, but I won't. Sorry. I love to talk about indie comics, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's fine. I don't know. I can feel the love.
That's crazy that they continued Super Mario Adventures in the same style.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It's a cool project.
Yeah, it looks so good. Yeah, it's so cool. Yeah, but, like I could talk about everybody.
I could give a shout out to a few other friends right now who I hang out regularly in my Discord server.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I have a friend named Gathan, and he makes No Man's Path. I'm trying to figure out how to like condense it, but if you like dark fantasy things, definitely up your alley. He's been working hard on it. Between everything, and I really like the characters. Another one is by Shouse. He does Rings of Tenuris, which I love. It's a sci-fi.
Rings of Tenuris.
Yes, I think you guys would like that one. Since we're all up in sci-fi right now.
Yeah, definitely.
Basically, a woman who is a star crashes onto Earth and destroys this guy named Jason's like invention. And then he gets wrapped up in a lot of like galactic war shit. It's like stuff like that. So pardon my language.
That's a cool
my
start.
unfilteredness came out for a second.
Oh, you can say whatever you want. This is
all right.
Yeah, we're all adults.
Yeah.
All right.
Uncensored podcast.
All right, cool. All right, I was like, wait. Trying for so long. But yeah, no. So that's like the tool on read version of that. Honestly, wanted to give a shout out. I think you'd like that one.
Yeah, I've been meaning to drop by your Discord. when people are in voice chat. I've been in there for a while. I just haven't really been super active. I usually hang out on my channel um, when I stream, but yeah, I just playing Helldivers lately. Anyways,
No, yeah, if you're running DeFi official, feel free to join. I'm gonna eventually start the weekly like art streams back up eventually once I like get more settled and stuff like that, and I have a more consistent
yeah,
schedule.
totally.
And I usually do comic pages or anything related to like Division 5 on those. Most of the time comic page. I did do a stream recently where I took art requests and I made like a Peach Day episode of like people's OCs, which was a lot of fun.
That's
That's
cool.
awesome.
And I posted that, yeah, because I noticed that like I get I get like fan art maybe once a month or more than that depending, or every other month, and I always thought about how like I'm like, man, I'm not making any fan art. I'm so busy with stuff, and it was kind of a way for me to be like, I need to give back. I want to make fan art for people too, so we'll just do like OC requests on a beach day episode.
Yeah,
I actually
Have
really
fun.
liked that you included the fan art in your comic. As I was going through, I loved how every like part ended with a piece of fan art. That was super cool.
yeah. I was gonna say the
Absolutely.
same thing.
If you draw fan art for me or anything like that, I feature it. I always show those off, so it will always get in the comic at like some point at the end of the episode. So
Yeah, I've ended up paying a couple people that have done fan art just because I was like, man, this is really good. Can I? You took the time to make it, and I believe that if someone's going to take the time to make art and you want to use it, you should definitely pay them for it. So I've asked a couple of people like, how much would you want for me to have this for a future thing? Like we did a trading card this time for our Kickstarter, so I've got a couple cool little pieces sandbagged that I can put on trading cards and stuff like that for future things. Because I mean, like I'm so appreciative. I want to one, I want to give you some money so I can use it, and two, I want to show other people. So yeah, I definitely believe if someone's going to take the time to, if someone enjoys what you make enough to make some fan art out of it, definitely praise those people and show as many people as you can, because that's super cool. I mean, I never thought people would be drawing the characters that I write. That's crazy.
Yeah,
oh yeah.
such a
What's like
big compliment as
I
a creator getting fan art of your work. It feels so good.
any fan art I get, I save that immediately and cherish
Yeah.
it. Honestly, like even if it's just like little doodles, like I've had one of my mods host, her name's Kari. She's my sister, and she hosts I almost said garlic phone. Sorry, Gartic phone. It's been an inside joke. I've been saying garlic phone, but if you're familiar with the game Gartic phone, it's like
Yeah,
you draw you have a prompt or you draw something and someone has to translate what it is, and it's like telephone.
used to play that in person physically with paper with like all my with a bunch of my like animator friends back in LA. And yeah, yeah, Guardian Phone is great. I played that recently for my birthday with some friends.
Oh, that's
Uh
awesome.
yeah. Yeah, it's a very
I
fun game to play with artistic people.
Oh yeah,
Get
but
some
I'll have
funny stuff.
I'll like D5 prompts like go into that sometimes, or people draw D5 characters and I'll save that. I'll try like really hard to like save those as much as possible because I
That's
just love seeing
awesome.
all the doodles. Like even just like small doodles, I love it.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I'm gonna try and find something real quick because my friend made a little sculpt of Awesome Man, which is like the coolest thing I've ever seen. Oh, maybe it's on my shelf over here. One sec. Well, I can find it right now.
How you doing, Lee?
Hey,
It's
Oh, he's back.
somewhere.
Okay, I was ready to start a conversation.
I'm back. I'm back. Uh, what were you saying? Something you had a conversation. What about
Oh no,
conversation?
it was just
We were just
silence
about to
while I
start
walked away.
filling the air.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, just keep
So I
talking while I'm gone.
it was like silence for a bit, and then I was just like, "How you doing, Lee?" And the moment I said that, you sat
You
down.
came
I was like,
back.
"All right, yeah." I was like, "All right, the air has been filled."
How are you doing, Lee?
I'm doing good.
That's good. That's
So
good
do
to
you guys
hear.
have is there a work that you can point to that like you were like, okay, that's the kind of stuff I want to make, like
Oh,
or something that you would consider like really influential, or it doesn't even need to necessarily be your genre. Like for example, if you were to ask me my favorite animated movie, I think I'd probably say Iron Giant. Like even though
I love the
thematically
movie.
that's a
Okay.
great one, right? I cry every single time.
Same.
But like it's just it's such beautiful animated storytelling that like I'm like that's the pinnacle of a thing. Like that's an inspiration. So not necessarily even something that's like your catalyst for your comic you make. But like, is there a piece of artwork you can point to that you're like, oh man, that thing in any medium? Is there something that you really like? Like the thing that made you want to tell stories, I guess, is what I'm saying. That movie for me
Yeah.
was one that was like, man, this is a pinnacle of storytelling.
Yeah. Absolutely. Iron Giant is peak animated cinema. Um, for me, it was probably. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff. Ghibli movies. My favorite animated movie is Princess Mononoke. That's my favorite.
Oh man, that was my first Ghibli movie, a
Yeah,
bootleg of it, right when
that
I
was
worked at
one
a
of.
comic shop.
Yeah, that was one of my. I don't know if it was the first one, but it was one of the ones I watched as a kid that like really affected me. Um,
Mm,
and then I came up with Awesome Man originally like in high school. Um,
mm,
but but that was like a different version of the character. So there's like
Oh yeah, it's drastically different from like
yeah
your voices now. I'm
yeah
thinking about mine. I'm like, oof, boy.
yeah, it changed a lot. Um, yeah, I read Ultimate Spider-Man as a kid. That was a big influence, I think, just on storytelling and superhero, like how I saw superhero stories in general.
Yeah.
Um, and then I don't know, in Invader Zim probably,
yeah.
Akira, Watchmen,
Oh yeah.
Venture
I think that was
Bros.
one of my first animes.
Yeah, Mobius. Um, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of influences. What about you, Bros?
A lot of mine's video games,
Oh
honestly.
yeah,
That's fine.
Uh, I've told the story a few times, but growing up, I used to play a lot of Spyro the Dragon. That was my first video game ever.
love
My wife loves that
Spyro.
game.
I love
Yeah,
Spyro the
that's a good one. I
Dragon.
love it too. So
And I wrote my first fanfic ever in third grade. So I think that's when
cute.
I really wanted to tell stories. I would just write silly things like Spyro and his friends got on a boat that went 500 miles an hour. Like, it's just random stuff like that.
That's great.
They had to go save Sparks and things like that. And like, video games really are pretty much the thing that like pushed me to want to like tell stories just because it's like such an interactive experience because you're
Mm-hmm.
experiencing the story in that way. Like you really
Yeah,
feel like you're part like a part of it versus like
yeah,
actually like watching like a movie or whatnot. Since
Mm,
you're the player, you are the main character.
right.
Um
Like active storytelling.
yeah.
yeah, active storytelling.
It reminded
That's
me
why I
of
ended up
Oddworld.
yeah.
Oh, I
And
love
that's
Oddworld. Yeah.
yeah, and I went to college and got my bachelor's in game design just because I really love the way like interactive storytelling is in that manner. Um I think yeah, but I talk a lot about Dead Space, but I talk about a lot about Dead Space because I think that's the game that really pushed me to like want to make my own stuff because that was like once I played that game, I was like I found the thing I was into. It all makes sense.
Yeah.
And then things like Prototype. I don't know if you guys know
Oh
that
yeah,
game.
that's a great game.
Yeah, Division 5 is heavily inspired by Prototype.
Gotcha.
Very, very heavily. And Dead Space. And then I love things like Mass Effect or Assassin's Creed. So those were a lot of my influences growing up, and I feel like a lot of those are in my story, which is fine. Like they're good stuff.
Yeah, you
But
reminded
Those
me
are
of
all
video
top tier
game.
video games. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. So video games were a huge inspiration, and then yeah, I was really big into Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
So that was like my entrance to being online, honestly. And like posting to DeviantArt back in the old days, like back in like 2008 and stuff like that. I used to make a lot of like Sonic the Hedgehog fan art or like fan fiction, and slowly over time I made like fan characters, and then originally turned into like original characters. So they went through like a massive evolution.
Crazy
Winter
journey.
used to not be a sci-fi character, actually. She's she was totally different.
Was she a Sonic OC?
She was a half angel OC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we're in the realm of like fantasy here,
Yeah.
like fantasy supernatural stuff. Um, I didn't really
Yeah.
make the switch over to making like sci-fi stuff until like 2015, I think.
hmm
Sometime around that. I wrote my first Division 5 script in 2016 at college. We had an assignment where we had to make a RPG, like narrative design doc, like a really, really big doc. It was like our final project, and that's when I decided to like brush off my winter OC, and I was just like, I'm gonna work on this. And like I still have the original like assignment and stuff, and I look at it now, and like my characters are so different. It was when I first originally gave Winter ice abilities, actually. So I was like, I want to make a character with ice powers. I love ice power OCs.
Yeah, it's crazy how much characters can evolve and change over the years. Like, yeah, some characters I came up with like in middle school or high school that I still use today. Um, but they change a lot. They like evolve over time. Or they come from surprising places. Like some characters I were like in games, like it was just a character that I made like in RuneScape or Adventure Quest
Oh
Worlds
gosh,
or
RuneScape.
something.
I used to play that a lot.
Like I think the Great Murano, which is another comic that I made, like that character came from Adventure Quest Worlds. Or the name did at least. I don't know. It was just like this he was just this pompous, arrogant fool who was really full of himself and turned into just a pompous wizard. It's very like kind of jaded about his life, and he's kind of mastered magic, but is a bit of a hermit. Uh, and yeah, it's crazy how those ideas shape over time. You're talking about video games too. Yeah, I uh, Oddworld and Halo, I think, were some huge influences on me growing up, and definitely probably will show themselves in Awesome Man. Halo especially. The issue I'm working on right now is there's a capture the flag game between the Earth Guard, which is a little bit of spoilers because you guys haven't gotten this far, but Earth Guard, which is like a team of superpowered individuals that Awesome Man was conscripted into, and then a team of super soldiers with like exoskeleton suits.
Yeah.
So it's like a team of Spartans from Halo versus a team of superheroes. So it's a big it's yeah, and the books too actually. Um, yeah, I love the aesthetic of Halo, that world. It had sci-fi horror too. Man, those flood levels were terrifying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in the first game, when you just like, you've been fighting the bright, neon accented Covenant and
Neon pink guys. Yeah.
yeah, beating down grunts or like just running around screaming, and then it's you hear shooting and it's dark and there's a marine that's like suicidal and like there's you don't know what the hell you're
Yeah,
dealing
that
with
first
because
game
there's
took
like
a turn. Like
yeah
thematically, that Halo 1 takes a sharp turn.
Oh, it goes. It becomes a horror game. A horror game for those missions, big time.
Mm,
Yeah, I watched this compilation recently of people playing that level for the first time. It was hilarious.
that's funny.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, that's so cool that you studied video game development and that you come from that background. Um.
Oh yeah, no, video games were a huge thing, part of my life growing up. So I've had some movies and whatnot that have like helped drove me a bit here or there. Like obviously, like I really love Alien and The Thing and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like we were talking about earlier.
Right.
Um, I've been trying to read like more romance stuff, especially since like my story, I am like writing a romance. It is a romance, 100%. If people don't
Yeah.
know that they're not reading a romance by this point, I'm sorry. Like all of my social media, like the ship, the fictional pairing, it's there. Like you know what it is. If you
Yeah.
walk into my story not knowing, I'm sorry.
I mean, you tag it and everything. It literally says it. So
Yeah.
I'm just like,
yeah.
this is the central romance. You're going to get this, but you're gonna get this. But like I love stuff like there's this Russian movie I really love. It's called I Am Dragon.
I haven't
Um
heard of it.
Yeah, me either.
it's a very niche one. I discovered it through because through Braylo fandom actually. In Star Wars. 'Cause that's how me and my husband actually met ironically. Um
Oh.
yeah, so to a long read version of the movie is this princess quote unquote princess is getting married off to this other dude, um and when they chant this like song of their grandfathers, this dragon is summoned. They thought all the dragons were dead, essentially there's no more dragons. Comes and abducts her and brings her to this island, um and she meets this other man on the island, and she's like stuck in a cave and all that, and she eventually discovers that like he is the dragon. And they like slowly fall in love with each other, and she learns to accept him as like dragon and man.
This is a
Like all his
Russian
flaws
movie.
are, yeah, it's really good. It's called
Wow.
I Am Dragon. And like her father and stuff is like trying to like find her, and there's like this thing like within their group or tribe or like their village where it's like if you want to find the person you love, you will find them, but they can never find her. She eventually comes back and they try to redo the wedding. Um, but then she realizes like she's in love with the dragon. And so she starts singing like that ancient song to summon him, and he takes her away, and they like live happily ever after on like this island. It's 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 very good actually.
I
It's
got to watch more foreign flicks. It sounds like.
Yeah.
this other sci-fi horror I watched recently called Sputnik. It was really good.
Haven't heard of that one.
Some of these Russian movies go really hard. Yeah, I try. I don't. I'm not opposed to foreign movies, so
Yeah.
You
totally,
can
totally, totally worth watching.
you can Videodrome. Uh,
Oh yeah, I've seen that. That's a weird one.
yeah, that one's gnarly. The Fly.
Yeah.
There's some good ones out there. Cronenberg.
Yeah,
I was
You mentioned
blanking
Event
on.
Horizon. That's one of my favorites.
I love her Event Horizon. Me and my sister
Yeah.
watched that, and like, cause you know, she's also me and her are basically the same person, honestly, with slight very differences. But we watched Event Horizon, and like, uh, so good. I was gonna say like another thing I think of too is like Callisto. I really love that. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Callisto Protocol.
Yeah. It was. I haven't played it, but I've seen it was like a free PlayStation Plus game not too long ago. It's in my backlog of shame.
Oh, Callisto Protocol's if you do like Dead Space or sci-fi horror like in general,
Mm.
Callisto Protocol is a very great game to play, I think. Um like a lot of people give it a bad rap because they're like, "Oh no, it's not like a Dead Space. It's not Dead Space." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, you're not getting Dead Space. It's from the same creator, so it's going to be like some influences and whatnot." Um But I actually really enjoyed the story of like the main game. Combat's very clunky, could be way better, but I feel like if they spent more time to it, it would have been really good.
Yeah, for sure. Callisto
Have you guys
Protocol.
heard of
Check it out.
Pacific Drive? I've been playing that. That's kind of like sci-fi horror-ish.
No.
Oh, it's pretty rad. So it takes place, I guess, in like an alternate I think it's like the 1970s, but you're in like this incursion zone where all this crazy supernatural stuff is happening, and you're
I've heard of
in
this.
yeah,
It's
it's
familiar.
Pacific Drive, and you basically your avatar is kind of this station wagon that you're driving from place to place. So as you're driving across, where like space time's ripping and like supernatural like
yeah.
Ghostbusters lights are showing up and everything.
Looks cool.
You're trying to keep your car in one piece. So you're like tearing apart other cars and building new doors to put onto your car just so that you can make it from one point to another point on the map as you go. But there's this really cool kind of like the whole narrative is told over your car radio. So people are communicating to you via radio transmission that are like in this no-fly zone that are kind of trapped in it with you. So it's really really cool, and it's got some very kind of unsettling horror elements because like you have to drive in the day and the night, and then it's almost like a survival horror too because your car can run out of battery, run out of gas. But yeah, it's wild. It's very different. It's a different kind of survival horror, and because I'm a big baby, it also has a bunch of bumpers built into it. So you can like turn off my car damage, turn off my regular damage, so I can just enjoy my crazy drive through the supernatural forest.
I'm just here I'm just here for the ride.
Yeah, I'm just here for the weird stuff. But it's super good, and the writing's very good in it too. The way the storytelling is done is good, and it's actually got a licensed soundtrack with some pretty cool kind of indie rock tunes on it too. So
it did look cool. I wasn't sure at first because I was just like, you're just in a car. But
yeah,
like now that
it
I'm
really
hearing from
grows
someone else
on
who
you.
actually played, no, I rather hear recommendations from like other people who've like played.
Yeah, I like stuff that's different, and it's definitely different. It's somehow familiar if you played like a survival game, like a oh man, what's the one where the cannibals are attacking you on the island, the forest?
Sons of the
It's
Forest. I literally was
yeah.
just playing that. Sons of the
So
Forest.
it's like the forest, but you're in a car, kind of.
Oh,
So it's pretty cool because you're gathering your resources, but instead of it being a base that you're building, you're just continuing to like stack this station wagon with more and more gear so you can make it to the next point. Like make your doors stronger, reinforce your your tires, make your engine better. And yeah, the whole time it's just all this weird stuff is happening. And what's cool is there are little anchor points that you have to collect to upgrade your car, but as you upgrade or as you remove the anchor points, it destabilizes the area, so crazier stuff starts to happen. It's pretty wild.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
I love a good indie game.
I'm here for the indie games.
Same here. Although Helldivers is not really an indie game, it's a small studio, but
That counts though. I mean, like
yeah.
No Man's Sky, I would still count as an indie game, even though that game has gone through an incredible transition since it started. But I mean, I would still consider them a small, relatively indie studio, even though that game has gotten the traction that it has.
I'm interested in the new one.
Oh yeah, it looks so good.
Light No Fire or something.
Yeah, it's like
it's
fantasy
like
almost. It seems like.
Yeah, it's a whole world, like a full size planet with stuff everywhere, stuff to do. It's a very ambitious, but coming from the creators of No Man's Sky, it kind of makes sense. Excited for that.
It took them a while to get it right, but they finally did. Yeah.
Video games are exciting medium. I hope to explore them one day. I mean, I spent a good amount of time developing a 2D fighting game that I put on the back burner that I'll return to someday. But I don't know. I want to actually work more in video games in the future, or make them, collaborate with people to make them.
I thought about making like an RPG Maker game. I always joke with the tribe, as I refer to D5 readers, making It's a running joke of making like a dating simulator. Just with the characters. It's just be unhinged and hilarious.
That'd be
Nothing
fun.
canon, of course.
Yeah, that'd be a fun
Yeah.
project.
Speaking of projects, is anyone else working on projects that are like side projects that aren't their main thing right
Um,
now?
I guess you could say Charybdis was supposed to be a side project, but it's kind of because it's cheaper to produce it because it's black and white and the books are a little bit shorter. It's kind of become the main focus now. But like Charybdis, the Barbarian Queen Charybdis is kind of like was supposed to be the side project. But yeah, so I guess that's kind of my side project, main project.
But the horror anthology that I submitted art for.
Oh
that we
yeah,
were-
so I want to do the novel that I showed you
yeah.
is currently out of print, and so I wanted to do a special edition so that we can do like one with art, and I can put everybody's art in there, and like everyone that gave a piece of art, I'm gonna copy a copy and everything. I really want to get that together. The main thing holding me back is Amazon. I'd have to do it through Kindle Direct Press
Yeah.
and everything was set up. But when I was getting ready to do to start formatting it, you said you were messing around with it. Amazon has a new formatting tool now that you have to use for like KDP.
Yeah.
And you saw how difficult it was for me to come meet you all on Discord. So I'm
Yeah.
having to learn a new thing. And I'm starting to get to the age where it's harder for me to learn new things, I guess. But I have someone who's used to formatting. So I do have somebody in my messages who's another book writer recommended, because look, I can format comics all day, but like it's to make sure the page, like all the art is centered and everything, it's a completely different formatting style. And I definitely don't want to ask people to pay for something if it doesn't come out, exactly the way I want it to be. Because I did a children's book and I wasn't thinking about digital formatting in it. So like, I think it's free on Amazon now. It's called Creepy Kitchen, but like the print version was great, but if you look at it digitally on a tablet, it like doesn't fit right at all. So I definitely want to do, like, if this is going to be like the anniversary edition or the special edition, because I want to do hardcovers too. I really want it to be good, and it's just managing Kickstarters as well as managing Kickstarters is so much work. And like I was feeling so ambitious. I was like, I'm going to do like 3 Kickstarters this year, and I did like 2, and it was like 1 at the end of last year and one into this year, and it's a lot of work, man. And I work full time too, so it's just trying to figure out where those projects go. Like I love the auditorium, and it's one of my mainline projects. It's just finding the time to sit down and format that, and then write the second one, because the way I wrote the second one was the story for auditorium for the prose book. It's kind of like an umbrella, and then within the umbrella of the auditorium, which is the museum, are all the genre stories. So it's like like Lovecraftian horror, Stephen King horror, or whatever. So like I have the umbrella story for the next book is written, like the big story is written. So now all I need to do are write the genre prose that go in, like the different genres of weird Western fiction. And I'm going to do stuff like, like campfire ghost stories and just like things you think of in like spaghetti Western style horror stuff. I want to include like Native American stuff and things like that. I really want to, like, the main thing is like, especially with a book that takes place in kind of a prickly part of history, even though spaghetti Western isn't really how the Old West was. I recently learned like that whole thing that we think of with cowboys and everything is really kind of, the Red Dead Redemption thing isn't exactly how things were, but it's a prickly time in our country's past. So I want to respectfully handle everything that I'm doing. So I'm trying to do a lot of research, especially on like the Native American stuff and things like that. So like that was one of the things that's become more and more important to me as I've become, done more and more as a creator, is like not appropriating, being like sensitivity reading stuff and things like that, just so that I know what I'm putting out isn't like tokenizing or objectifying or like culture vulturing and stuff like that, which is one of the reasons we wanted to include Edwin on the team for Barbarian Queen Charybdis, because our lead character is a character of color, and I wanted to make sure that we had voices because of all different people kind of like coming in and saying like this sounds good, this sounds bad, this seems inauthentic, and Shira did a whole lot of research into like character designs and like hairstyles and all things like that. Like it seems like it might seem like too much work to some people, or like kind of going overboard, but it's really important to me that the things that I write feel like everyone feels safe reading those things. Everyone can enjoy that stuff without feeling like something that I've written is culturally insensitive or is inappropriate, or that I've kind of written from a place of privilege. And I mean, I don't consider that like wokeism or whatever. I consider that just treating people like people and telling people stories that they can enjoy without having to without having to be like okay. So
Yeah.
sorry, I got on a
absolutely.
pedestal there for a second, but it's inclusivity is very important to me. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I try and spread so many different voices in comics through my social media and stuff. It's a real important point to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I remember having a conversation once, like 2 months ago maybe, about like what cultures are in my comic, and I'm just like, what culture? Just because like it's the year 3033. Like
Yeah.
countries aren't even a thing anymore. They don't exist in the world of Division 5, so people don't really address others as that. Like, I totally took that concept out. So now you're existing in a world where that doesn't even matter. Like the only thing that matters is dealing with Cosmos Plague.
Right.
I do remember someone once stating that they're like, I don't like the fact that they refer to people on the planet as natives, and I was like, good, you shouldn't.
I mean,
Stuff like
it's just
that.
an accurate or I mean, it's it's just
Even though
we're just
even though it was a correct term to refer to them as that.
yeah.
I found stuff like I've had stuff like comments like that, but I don't really have any cultures I really like dived into, modern day cultures, I should say, because
Right.
a lot of my knowledge is prehistory.
Mhm.
I really like studying like prehistory, like 10,000 BC, like things back to like the Clovis tribe, which is like 13,000 years ago in America. Things that are not like modern day at all, that we don't have any like, like a solid amount of like evidence about. A lot of people who don't even exist anymore, basically. Pretty much extinct tribes and things like that. So
Yeah.
I think
Right.
that's the only inspiration I got for like cultures if I do any research.
Yeah, but I've definitely done a lot of research into cultures that I incorporate into, or that I not necessarily incorporate, but like have characters that are, you know, like but also it's a superhero story, so things are kind of just like over the top. Like there's a ninja on the team, like superhuman reflexes and strength, and um a French a guy has like a uh Atlantean armor scale armor called Aquacat. Uh there's like a British, like basically the team that the Osman joins is like just people like super powered, anomalous individuals from all over the world that have been um captured by Earthsec and uh you know conscripted into this Earthguard team. Um, but I need to talk to more people. I think get more outside perspectives because I feel like a lot of the time, like my story, I don't talk to people. I don't collaborate because it's all just I'm just making it all myself, and I'll just do a whole bunch of research um into into stuff and um to incorporate in the story because I'm drawing from like all sorts of stuff, like Christian mythology and ancient like Norse mythology, Greek mythology, and um yeah, because I mean also it's the idea is that there's like a lot of myths, because Osman's supposed to take place in the not so distant future, but like in a world that's not too dissimilar from ours. Um, so it is modern, and there's like, yeah, uh, real stuff in there. In that, it's supposed to be analogous to our world, just that all this crazy otherworldly stuff does exist, but
Mhm.
um, it's hidden from the general public, either through suppression of information or just because the societies that have access to magic are super reclusive. You know, the societies and then there's like whole breakaway civilization aspect of it where Earthsec is basically like this autonomous force that operates around the world without jurisdiction and has access to technology that the public doesn't have, that they're using for, protection, but not, it's also but it's kind of ambiguous whether that's all it's used for. um yeah, I don't know, I'm sorry, I kind of went off in a tangent there, but I forgot
I'm happy to listen, man.
where we were going with originally. Yeah, the Oddcast also, I like talking about odd stuff. If that make I don't know. Sometimes in life, there's like things that are inexplainable that happen to us, or we just like see something
Okay.
otherworldly, like a ghost or UFOs or something. But um, yeah, the
Follow
hit.
that those types of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, and um, yeah, you've done energy healing, energy work. You're trained in Reiki, right?
Yeah, I am a Reiki master.
Yeah, and that stuff is real to me because I've had that work. I've had work done and with like tangible results. I personally believe in the existence of energy and spirit. Like,
Yeah,
um,
a term you could refer to it as is bioenergy.
exactly, bioenergy, and I don't even think it's like unscientific. I think it's just an aspect that hasn't been explored in
Uh,
science.
yeah, pretty much. Like there was a
Or
whole conversation I like have with people about how like you can't disprove or prove that the soul exists.
right.
Because you can't because there's no way to scientifically measure that.
At
So if you
least
can't,
with the technology
yeah,
we have access to, maybe with more advanced technology or different methods, it could be. That's
yeah,
at least in my
pretty
opinion.
much. Yeah, and that's how I kind of view a lot of stuff. I'm just like it's science we haven't like actually explored or understood quite yet.
Yeah. But
Now,
yeah, before we wrap up, I guess it's a question I ask my guests is what is something odd or unexplainable that you've witnessed in life, and like, is there any
oh,
stories that you'd like to share or
oh,
just
oh,
talk
geez,
about?
I'm quite the which experience.
Yeah, Lee, have you ever had anything odd or unexplainable or strange that you've witnessed in
Well,
life?
okay. So, despite my adoration of the occult, the supernatural, and all of those things, I am pretty skeptical. But I do love, like, I love like to hear stories of that kind of stuff because I think it's fascinating. I do have a weird supernatural, scary story that had a reasonable scientific resolution that I can tell you that's pretty funny.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
so so one night, my wife wakes me up, and out in the dark of our neighborhood, it sounds like a woman just screaming, just randomly screaming in intervals, and we both got super scared. Made sure all the doors were locked because we heard it like you could just hear it, just this the shrill scream, and it would stop. Um, so we found, and it would happen. It was happening night after night. It was
Yeah.
foxes. Foxes scream. If you've never heard a fox
Wait,
scream, oh my god, it's
what
blood
is
curdling. So it was foxes in the neighborhood screaming that it was
That's
time to make
hilarious.
more foxes, and that's what it was about. But it
It
was
was
very
fox
scary
mating
when it
season.
happened. Yeah, exactly.
That's
I guess that's
hilarious.
what the I guess that's what the fox says then.
That is what the fox says. It's terrifying.
It's terrifying.
Oh
Oh,
man, I like that. Hey, that could almost be like a short horror story all on its own. But then there's like a twist
Right.
at the end where they hear the screaming and they're like, oh, it's just the foxes. But then suddenly they're like, wait, what month is it? It's not fox mating season.
fox me.
That's
That's
funny.
great.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes that's what unexplainable. I mean, a lot of the time that's what unexplainable things are. It's just something that there's you haven't solved the mystery of what it is.
Mhm.
It not isn't necessarily something like ghosts or aliens or spirits or you know interdimensional beings. It's like something something much more mundane.
I think the liberating thing for me, as far as like being a skeptic but still enjoying those things, is
Yeah.
giving yourself the permission not to know. Like that's one thing Neil deGrasse Tyson says is like it's okay to not know. Like, wow, that was
Yeah.
really weird. That was completely unexplained. I don't know why it did that. I don't have a scientific explanation, but it's very interesting and sometimes terrifying.
I mean, that's the place that you have to come about it because every like I don't blindly accept anything. I only
Mm,
only stuff that that there's evidence that I've experienced or read about or
mhm.
sufficiently to a sufficient level. Um, because yeah, I'm extremely skeptical about any ideas that are outlandish, and you have to do research. Like flat Earth is obviously bullshit. There's a lot of
Mhm.
things there's a
Yeah.
lot of bullshit out there. Um, but yeah, Rose, I'm sure you have a handful of interesting
Oh, yeah.
stories.
I have like actual paranormal stories. Um,
Yeah.
I always do,
Yeah,
knowing what I
I
am.
remember when we talked last time. You were telling me about these like dark shapes or something that you witnessed on the base that you were living at. So,
Oh yeah, I mean, I mean, the base was like 90% bombed during World War II. The Army Air Corps came over and said screw you. So like there was a lot of death. So like it's not a shock.
yeah,
Um, yeah. So I did have a farewell paranormal experience leaving, of course.
really. Oh, that's
Oh
interesting.
yeah. And involved my husband too, actually, because my husband's a big skeptic as well.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. So we had to stay in temporary lodging before like we left, right? Um, and every night my husband would wake up like in the middle of the night and kept telling me he kept seeing this tall like shadow figure staring at him, and then he would go back to sleep. And eventually one night I woke up same time as him and saw the exact same thing, right? Um, yeah, and I was just like, whatever, because for me that's like a norm in my life, honestly. I'm just like F off, like please leave me alone. I just need to sleep. I'm tired. Like we don't have a car. We have to walk in the snow. I don't want to deal with this. And then one night I remember waking up because my husband screamed and I saw the same thing. So like me and him saw the same thing like back to back. And then I should note we were on the 6th floor and we have a balcony, right? And no one
Yeah.
obviously is gonna enter that balcony. The only way you're entering that balcony is you've like, I don't know, randomly became a superhero and landed on it.
Hmm.
Or entered it from the room, the bedroom, right? So one morning after we saw that figure during the night, my husband pushed back the curtains and he freaked out because there was handprints all over the door that weren't there before. And I looked at it and he looked at me and he's just like, that's not real. And I'm just like, I can't wait till we get out of here. This is annoying. I was like, this is annoying. I wasn't even like mad. I was just like, I'm just tired.
Yeah.
Um,
You have enough to deal with
so
already without
yeah, like we're
without
moving. We
some
were having.
sleep
I was,
paralysis demon shadow being nonsense, leaving handprints on your glass door.
but like it was just the fact we saw the tall figure, and then like the following morning, it's like there's random handprints all over the door on the outside. By the way, mind you.
What do the
By the
handprints look
way,
like?
like an adult like I guess man.
Yeah.
But like the thing is like you're on the 6th floor and it's snowing.
Are they on
No
the
one's gonna be
outside?
there. On the outside, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I looked at him and I just saw that and I was just like, that wasn't there the previous day. Ah, can't wait till we get
Aw.
out of here.
Skittles missed the story because ads. That's okay. I'll be posting the
Oh
the
no.
full podcast in its entirety. And I think the VOD
I
should
like
be
to
saved
imagine
as
that the
well.
paranormal world is as mundane as like ours. Like, what if that ghost from the night before just left their keys? And they're like, Kyle, where are your keys? He's like, oh my God, I left them in that place the other night. Well, we got to go back and get them. And he's like sitting there on the glass door, like,
Honestly, I hope it is
but
because that would be hilarious.
I I've had lots of paranormal stories and I'm someone who does try to like explain things,
Mhm.
Same.
honestly. Because I'm the same way. I'm just like even though like I'm even though I'm an energetically sensitive person, I call myself a medium at times just because that is like what I am in my experience. I don't usually be too open about it because everyone looks at me like a weirdo, but I mean everyone already does that anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Um,
Yeah. You can't control
so
people judging or not. It's just it is what it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. So yeah, I have a lot of paranormal stories. I could share one more,
Yeah.
like
I'd love to hear it. We
most
still got time.
most most of these stories is literally just me just being annoyed, honestly, by paranormal because like I grew up seeing like entities and had like lived in haunted places to the point where it's like it might spook me at first, but then after I'm just like, really? Like you had to do that? Like why?
Like Michael J. Fox and Frighteners.
Yeah, pretty much that's me. I'm just like, please leave me alone. Like I have dinner to cook. Like I got more important stuff. Like
Be a
please don't
fun
bother me.
little side slice of like life comic, just like you being annoyed by ghosts.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Um, gosh, many years ago. Are you all familiar with Gettysburg, Pennsylvania?
uh,
Gettysburg,
where
like the Gettysburg Address.
Yeah,
the
the
big
battle
battle
there.
took
Yeah, Battle of
place.
It was
Gettysburg.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 Hopefully, our public schooling or my public schooling did okay. I know where that is and what that
Yeah.
is.
I remember
I
talking
forgot. I
about that in history class. It
I
sounded
went to
yeah.
school in
really,
South
really
Carolina. That was the War of Southern
brutal.
Aggression or Northern Aggression.
Yeah.
Um. So, anyways, an ex friend of mine and me and my family went to Gettysburg, and we decided to do one of those paranormal investigations. Where they give you like the equipment and like you get the voice box and like
It's
the
cool.
thermal camera and stuff like that. Um. So, we went to this house. The paranormal investigators were kind of mad that we were getting all the paranormal activity, but like I'm just kind of sitting there like, well, I'm a medium, so like I'm like energetically aware of like entities around me. And so is my mom. She's also sensitive because it runs in our family because we are related to witches. Um or quote quote witches. Uh like I'm one of the many granddaughters of Rebecca Nurse from the Salem witch trials as well. Actually, believe it or not.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Crazy you can trace
Yeah.
it back to that's amazing.
Yeah, my mom's side of the family does a lot of genealogy. So like we're very energetically aware of stuff, and like sitting in a rocking chair. This is back when I was like 18 years old, and there was a soldier named Michael who like sat in the other rocking chair like next to me. By the way, I say soldier, but they're dead. Obviously, they're a soldier. We knew
Tired
this
soldier.
because yeah.
Way
Well, he
retired.
Where
died. Wait, yeah, he died. He died.
visually
He died.
like
Um,
did you just like do you see them like visually or in your mind's eye or does it just is it like a shadowy
depends.
form or translucent?
Depends. Depends on how a person wants to present themselves. I've had people who
Yeah.
want to present themselves as this like messed up mangled thing, and I'm just like, you're not scary. You're just trying to act scary.
In that
Like,
situation, what was the like appearance?
um, it wasn't like a shadow figure or anything for me. It was just like a person. Like it was like looking at a person, but it's like in mind's eye, if that makes sense. But what happened was my mom had like the thermal camera, and she's like, "Oh my god." And I'm like, "What?" She's like, "There is a person literally sitting next to you, and I can see their arm and their hat and their soldier uniform and everything on thermal right now." She's like, "This is crazy." And then like, we got the voice box out, and I asked like, "What's your name?" And he said Michael. And we asked like how old. And he said 18. And like I'm also an 18-year-old, so like, Michael had someone to like, like hanging out with who was also an 18-year-old, So it made sense, and mingling
Wow.
with someone who's like the same age as me and whatnot. So like, something relatable. But like the paranormal investigators like came over and they're like mad because we were getting actual answers on the voice box and the thermal camera was like picking up stuff, and it was kind of funny seeing them get ass mad at us.
You think they'd
I'm like,
be
I'm
happy
sorry.
to get something, you know?
Yeah, pretty much. It's because other people weren't getting as much paranormal activity, and I'm just like, I don't know, I just don't want to talk to you guys. Just want to talk to me, I guess. But there
Wow.
was one part where we went upstairs, and there was this woman who hung herself because her fiance died in war, and like he promised her like they would get married after, and that didn't happen, obviously. So she no, she set him out. Um, well, um, there's a lot of like, so we went up to the attic, like where it happened, like the staircase and stuff, and obviously saw her. There was a lot of like crying, like physical crying you could hear, and my ex-friend was like really scared. She's like, "What does that sound?" And I don't know why I said it, but I was like, it might be an owl or something. And my mom's just like, "That's not an owl. What are you talking about?" And then my ex-friend's like super skeptical. She didn't believe in nothing. And then the door slammed right behind us. And she
Yeah.
jumped. My mom jumped, and I just stood there, and I was like, "Yeah, I expected that to happen." Like, I just like predict stuff like that when it comes to paranormal, and I just stood there unresponsive. And I'm like, I'm annoyed. That's me.
Used to it.
And I'm like, what's new?
Yeah. That, that's crazy.
So I've had
Oh, that's
stuff like that. So I treat it as talking to like a normal person with problems.
That's wild.
I just treat being a medium as like a therapist for just someone who's not around, honestly.
Yeah.
Like
I've
that's the
got
way I
a
look.
there's a story in my auditorium prose book I think you'll dig. It's about a writer who gets stuck in. It's basically Groundhog Day in a haunted house. So like he wakes up and it's 3 a.m. and he just keeps waking up and it's 3 a.m. But every time he wakes up, he's subject to another paranormal entity that's in the house through the history of the house's like whole history. So it's like these ghosts just keep stacking up and stacking up every time the cycle starts over again. And so like one set of ghosts are gangsters. One ghost is like a kid that died from cholera, and like it's like all the stories of the deaths through the house, sort of like the first American Horror Story season, kind of like that.
Oh,
But the guy's like trapped in this loop with these ghosts, and that he sees all the time, like that he sees as the story progresses, and it just gets like wilder and wilder as the loop continues to go, and he keeps like trying to escape from this like Groundhog Day of ghosts.
I love that. That's great.
It's pretty crazy.
That's
that's
hilarious.
that's great. Nah, I've also been called in to like cleanse people's houses too before, like last space. Like went to a house and I just call it like yuckies. That's like my word. I don't know why. I just like
Bad
negative
vibes.
energy. Yeah, the bad vibes. It looks like black blobs to me. And I just like sage and do that stuff, and I do like purification and whatnot. And I'm just like, all right, all done. Stop doing this and this. Get rid of this item. Um, like, you'd be surprised at how much energy attaches itself to like random items that like people just randomly bring home. Like like old used like items
Yeah.
where you touch it and your gut instinct is like, I don't know if I should have this in my house. Like, I don't know if you ever touch something or whatever, and you're just like, I don't know if I want to bring this home. Like from a yard sale or something like that.
I can't say I have. I don't. I should. I've not been to many yard sales recently.
just
That
random little
reminds me of
items.
like Hunter, where they like they use Nen. They can like sense when objects have like collected Nen energy around them. At like pawn. They're like at a big trading market, and so they like buy items that have like a bunch of energy, and they end up being like more valuable and rare because they have like, I don't know, like something special about them.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's a reason why people are obsessed with collecting stones and crystals.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, there's actual science to it. It's the way energy like goes through it and reflects.
Hmm.
And depending on the wavelength that actually hits the stone can actually improve in your mood, which is why some people are obsessed with it.
I should get some stones.
So that's why there's like a whole like trend or
Some
whatever where
cool
people are like, I gotta
rocks.
have these 100 like rose quartz or whatever. Or I have to get my my sapphire, just anything really. Like people just grab. I don't know if you're familiar with like the trend of getting stones and crystals.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I have lots of friends who do that. Who have that. I have
I do, but I also do
I
it
have
because
a
it
few
looks cool.
rocks, but I
Yeah.
could always have more. Um, yeah, it's getting late. I know it's super late for you, Rose.
Yes,
Like, is it like 1, 2 in the morning?
it's 2 a.m. exactly now.
Damn. Well, yeah, we should wrap things up. Both of you guys, where can we find you on the internet? Uh, Rose.
So I am on Twitter. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook, and I'm chronically online on Discord. Honestly, at this rate. Uh, so, but you can find me under the name Roselinath. Pretty much it's the same thing on every platform.
You yeah, send me a link that I'll put in the description.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Lee.
I am Raven Writing Desk, no G, on pretty much everything, all one word. So Raven Writing Desk, and then I'm under Benelli Books on Global Comics, and that's where you can read most of my stuff. A lot of it for free, like all the auditorium stuff is free to read. I'd like to collaborate with some people and hopefully put out some more of those short comics. It's just a matter of like I've got so many projects going now. You got to figure out when you have the funds where they're going to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty much on all the things. Twitter. I think I'm on Threads. Who knows? Pick a social media platform and type Raven Writing Desk, and if I'm there, that's what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, everyone follow Lee. Keep an eye out. Keep your eyes peeled for any new Kickstarters announcements, or what was the other crowdfunder?
Crowdfunder, yeah.
Yeah. Um, and
For sure.
yeah, Roselinath has Division 5 Volume 2 coming up soon. Kickstarter. I don't know when the yeah, if you have anything you wanted to say about that.
Yeah, sure, real quick. Yeah, no, I am planning to post the pre-launch soon, and the actual Kickstarter will be launched like in very, very soon. I will be publicly announcing it soon. I've kind of like dropped the date here and there, but I'm just like kind of like waiting because I don't want to like post it too early, if that makes sense. I want to
Sure.
post it like just like what I think is the right time to say. Yeah, no, I'll definitely be on the lookout for that. And I'm
Okay.
also working on another story right now too called Sun Moon. So if anyone's interested in dark fantasy romance, with a lot of messed up things, I'm working on that with my sister right now. So definitely be on the lookout for that too if that interests you.
Yeah, absolutely. I will be on the lookout for that. Uh, New comic, exciting stuff. Cool. Yeah, you guys have any final messages before we end the oddcast?
I don't have any
Mm.
Support
particular
indie
besides.
comics.
Hell yeah,
Yes.
support indie comic.
Pretty much read my mind.
Alright.
Yes, support indie comics. Let's say I don't really have much else to say besides, like support indie comics and go read them.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you both for being here. That's great. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you, fam. Hope you have a good day.
Yeah, hope you have a good early morning and yeah, rest of your night, please.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, you too.
All right, take care. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for anyone in the chat who's watching. Check out their stuff. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream.